Suraj Singh, civil engineer, international professional engineer, registered by Institution of Engineers India, Bharat. Skill development के लिए I am just coming again to you to discuss skill development regarding building projects and other projects. This is a continuous talk in sequence of talks in series of talks. And this is my identity. I'm just giving you about this, which is very important from current point of view. I am fellow of Institution of Engineers India, Bharat. This is located in Calcutta. Its head is a statutory body, constitutional body, chartered by Charter 1935. And in continuation to this, I am coming back and give you some photos before starting this talk, which is very important for purpose of this talk, because without these photos you will not understand. Information must be given to you correctly, and that's what I'm going to do it. These were now I'm going to do you this for the cinema. Very important aspect of, just please a few moments for me so that I can give you this now. This is a skill development chapter of project management note. Just for your reference, I'm just indicating contents of this photo, and these have been placed in text of this video already there. These are very important from whatever point of view it is. These pages are there available for information. Certain files are there. Because this I cannot show directly, that's the reason I am just giving a glimpse of this for information so that you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you're not able to hear, but just an informative glimpse it is. Informative glimpse from viewpoint of having an idea for correlation, and this is like a cover page of this file. This is construction, project management, document cover page. It is synopsis of a building. Hello, this is Suraj Singh. This is video for construction project management. Construction project management. House. Construction project management. An overview. Not for engineers. It's for engineers and managers. This is forward. Project requirements. This is customers for modifications, the legal requirements for implementation, flaws, social needs fulfillment, project management concept, project management objectives, analysis to understand who are involved in civil engineering project management industries. This is part 4, project stages, quality, time, risk factors, risk impacts, procurement, communication continues, then
Project stages. Stages continue, client and owner, chart of permission, etc. Implementation. Stages, part 8. Updates. Work changes. Payment certificates. Communications to stakeholders. Engineers communication to client. Part 10. What areas of knowledge has been refreshed? Project requirements, project initiations, project charter, planning for all stages, execution and monitoring. Is all what is that? Let's say like that. Let us see the more. Thank you.
And before starting that, I'll just give you another glimpse for some photographs of a small project that was constructed long back. But that is very important from this point of view. These are reinforcements of the complete photographs I'm just giving you. This is, can say, these are drawings, details of drawings in details which are required professionally on any project. Maybe not clear to you, but just for a glimpse I'm giving you. That such drawings are important from professional point of view. What should be done, not like what we do in this country. These are very significant drawings, architectural, structural services, structural detailing, etc. I'll go to another drawing. You say, this other one. You can see these drawings indicatively I'm showing you. I cannot give details here because it's difficult to upload details. I just converted these drawings from JetCat to my PowerPoint and then upload it, which is very difficult to upload even. It's not that easy as you're thinking. And then we come to the other one. See, light is there, in fact, it's a problem to show this. Anyway, I'm just showing this. And this other one, it's like that. The group of drawings, see, all architectural structural services and details, etc. in these drawings. All the URLs regarding this on script have been included on text of this video. You can just refer to the end of this video text. There are certain URLs applicable to these drawings and uploaded on that. I think out of 8, 5 are available. 3 are still in process. I don't know why it is in process. The script could not do it practically. So it takes time. I think they are, and you can just go through, or 5 or 6 are available. The others are still in process. I don't think some problem in uploading. And I don't think these remaining 3 may be uploaded, may not be uploaded. I'm not sure about that. They're all structural here. And if you go, there's another one, architectural probably. Not sure. Yes, you can see that. All elevations and complete detailing of these drawings. Means when I work or we work, we have to work professionally. It's not simply just have some sketch and give to someone to construct. It's just completely out of professional activity. We do something reliable and durable so people should find any problem with in working. But I have seen it's a shop engineering now it is in Bharat and not professional engineering. They work as if they are running a shop, tea shop or coffee shop, delivering material, abusing material, misusing material, abusing professional activities and abusing everything. It's really nonsense, really. I hate it. You are spending money in dust, that you can say. Money is free here. You spend anyway, howsoever you want, at mercy of contractor, at mercy of mason, at mercy of builder, at mercy of whosoever you wish. Money is nothing here. You can waste money like anything, like water, like whatever it is, and that is our nation. Unfortunately, engineers don't worry about that. They don't concern because they are not serious. They are serious only for their work only, nothing else. They think they are constantly they are nowadays fighting to fight with politics and with society and with promoters and with this. Nobody is ready to fight anything. They're just fighting to live. That I can say. Fighting to live is more important than fighting something else. Once again, I'm showing you this. So this is very important. Drawings are very important. Without drawings, nothing is possible. Drawing is language of engineers. Drawing is everything. If drawing is right, everything is right. It's language of engineers. Nothing else. Very small. Usually, drawing is language of engineers. And really, language of engineers, I don't know. You have to see yourself. I'm finding language because without drawings, you cannot move an inch, a centimeter, a millimeter. But people are doing without drawings. Anyway, I just given all this. You can because it's there and you can just you can see I can show you this top here. Long drawings here. Long drawings regarding that plot. One plot was constructed in 2008 to 2010. This is a 500 square yards and 110 110 percentage FAR. I'll just start talk very comfortably, conveniently, dear friends. Sorry for delaying this talk. And with again, namaskar, good morning, whatsoever it is called professionally. All those who have joined now or may join in future to view this video, welcome, dear friends. This is Suraj Singh again. I am civil engineer and I am of course a senior citizen of this country, Bharat. 65 years is my running age and I have registered as a chartered engineer, as professional, international professional engineer in India, and I have worked about more than 35 years in my career. Just for my introduction, I worked more than 20 years in many countries: Iraq, Libya, GCC means Saudi, Abu Dhabi, and many other locations. Qatar. I worked in Qatar for 6 years in different phases. I worked for 6 years in Abu Dhabi, UAE. I worked for about half in a year in Saudi Arab, Jeddah. I worked in Iraq for 2 years in 1983-84, 1981 to 83. I worked in Libya for 83 and 84. I worked in Bharat, Delhi Authority for 6 years. I worked my own practice. I am used to writing. I am fond of writing. I am used to thinking. I am used to working on plans myself. And I am used to work on site, building engineering, oil projects. Oil projects means not offshore, onshore projects. I worked in ethylene plant in Ruwais, UAE, Abu Dhabi for about 3 years. I worked in LNG plant for beach villa project in Doha, Qatar for 1 year. I worked on many projects of commercial buildings in Abu Dhabi. I worked for many projects in Benghazi and in Sirte in Libya regarding substations and power stations. And similarly, I worked in Doha for school projects, for army training camps, for Qatar petroleum projects, And likewise, just a brief experience of more than 35 years, I can call brief because you cannot cover projects according to your liking here. I worked long back in Delhi on my own with some partner in promotion who failed later on, who could not succeed. And there was a town planning scheme which we wanted to promote around NCR in Haryana but could not be done due to certain reasons. That party could not manage projects funding. It was long back in 1992, when people did not even know what promotion was, except there were only few builders in Delhi. And I worked a lot on that project. And I'll post some complex designs on that on next video or some other video. I'm working on that. These drawings were prepared by me as a planner, as an engineer, but that project, which was at that time meant for about 100,000 flats to be constructed in Delhi around NCR, failed. I was too young, I was upset. It was a big project. At that time, it was costing about 6,000 crores in 92. You can just imagine. But it did not work. I was unfortunate. And still, after that, many people developed projects, but all made haphazard development. There was no, you can say, integrated planning projects in a professional way. And still, there are many complexes being built everywhere, but all rubbish, you can say. There's no sense at all in that. Well, I'm not criticizing anyone here. I'm just coming back to point. And point is that we are professionals first of all. For example, I am an engineer, civil engineer, buildings oriented. Other also, I'm qualified engineer. I passed diploma first, and then I passed AMI after that, and I did professional engineering, and then I experienced about many books. Outside my books also civil engineering building practices also there. There are many other books I on home plans I wrote, and I wrote on management. I was used to writing on Structural Forum of India, Structural Engineering Forum of India, and also on many other sites. And I'm also started making videos. And the purpose of this video are that I am finding, I have discovered that in these days, for last 2 decades, writing culture has gone, reading culture has gone. People are not interested in buying books and reading. People are not interested in writing scripts. People are not interested in anything. They are only talking to, they are using mobile phones, and habit has become that they only used to talk and talk and talk and talk and nothing else. People are not interested in reading news. People are not interested in reading professional papers, except 2 or 3% people. But 2 or 3% people doesn't make a sense, because it has to reach the common man, and common man can know that only through us, like me, you, I, and all those foremen and supervisors who work with us for us. This is an idea, this is the criteria behind this video. Otherwise, I would not like to share videos with you, and I'm not interested in videos at all, but there's no other way out. I worked in many countries, and I know previously people used to write all things, everything, all communication, but now it is not easy. People just want to manage for purpose of manage and running and pushing everything without any record, and which causes a problem. That is the reason now I think people are better understanding video and viewing videos and all that. Even they don't find time of videos itself us. But what to do? There's no other way. If I write, I am successful, but I cannot publish. If I go to publisher, this is a professional book. We don't sell it. We can't sell it. It's not commercially oriented. It's not commercially viable. What to do in that case? I'm not at least to open my publication and publish books. I don't have that much money. If I had that much money, why would I do some job or some service for someone else? I would start my own company at all if I had, but that doesn't happen. If you are a good writer, if you are a good thinker, if you want to write something, if you communicate something to your juniors or the people of masses, you cannot do that because you don't have sources. And sources other persons are having, who are commercially oriented, who are not socially oriented, who are not professionally oriented, who have no aim to build a country, who have only aim to earn money, make commercial success. And that's the reason publishers don't accept your books. They only accept books which are meant for text and for examination, and students buy those, and students are forced to buy because they have to pass examination. Otherwise, I wrote many books of professional engineering. It was first was successfully published, but it did not not well received. Still, it is there. It's published in 92, 95. It was published. I gave this to publisher. A script I gave to 92. Just civil engineering building practice by Suraj Singh, was published by College Bookstores, CBS publishers. It took 3 years to publish that because it contained many sketches, many drawings, and that guy could not afford at that time to produce something. But I worked hard for it, and it was successfully published in 95. but it was not well received by people because people, they don't have any time or any interest to buy that book. At that time, they don't cost much, just 250 or 200 rupees, but people even not interested to buy that book. It was 500 pages. I wrote in that book. I include all my site experiences, what I learned in field, but people are not interested. It was nothing to do with academic sessions, nothing to do with academic text. It was just how to work on site agent, how work, project engineer, how work, civil engineer, how works, site and mechanical engineer, all those works, and how contractors work, and how mechanical works, what is resident engineer, what is engineer, what is supervisor, and what is site agent, and what is project engineer, and responsibilities, and what is contractor, what are contract problems, and what are those, what are activities on site and swimming pool, what activities on buildings, etc. All were included in that book, but people did not find any interest because people are not interested to learn such things from books or from somewhere else. They are only interested in getting job into job. They make mistakes because they are not aware of specifications. They don't want to read the specifications. They don't want to concentrate on drawings. If they want to concentrate on it, they don't want to coordinate drawings. And this is all very difficult actually. Why I'm giving this background? Because project management support and project management is supported by all such information I'm talking about. This information is very, very significant from point of view of project management, or you can say job management, or you can say professional management. Management doesn't mean simply manage, it means work, deliver. My consideration of management is different. It's not simply management. Management is done for those things which are known, but we have to produce things on site. We have to produce items on site. Our materials are manufactured on site. We collect raw material, every raw material, based on our design, based on our concept, based on our development, based on everything. I again and explain, it's not simply production, it's not simply trades, it's not simply getting material from one source, or deal it, enter it in a restaurant, then sell it, having some profit to some other party. It's not transaction, it's not trans dealing. It's work on site, and work on site, irrespective of what type of weather is there, irrespective of what type of working hours are there, irrespective of what you eat or you don't eat. You have to meet milestone of your contract agreement, and that is what is it. And if you cannot do that, you fail yourself, you fail project, you fail organization, and you fail your nation, you fail your profession. It is very important to understand that we are working in very responsible field. It is not laughing field, it is not exercising field, it is not yoga field, it is not political field, it is delivery field. You have to deliver irrespective of that. There is earthquake, there is seismic action, there is thunderstorm, there is cyclone, your project must move. That is what is required. If material is not available, you have to provide alternative material, you get approval of that, but you have to move, and that is called management. Management doesn't mean go to college, learn PMP, or take some book of CPM or bar chart or event management and do that. It's not that. It is complete mind work, physical work, and your responsible acts work. That is work as project manager. And yesterday I had a lot talk about that. Again, I'm back to you to discuss same thing because it's not simple chart. I just put certain text on this video. Please go through that before going through in details on this. And there is a complete copy of this page which I cannot show you directly here, but I just put photographs of that, and that is construction projects management and overview note for engineers. And this was written by me in 2011 in April, and it was just lying on some website. I had to think how to get it reached to you. So I had no medium that time, and people are not interested in reading such documents. So I thought, now I have some access of live video with Facebook. I thought I should deliver to you through this medium, and I hope you may read this, but you must have time for this. You must have seriousness. You have to demonstrate seriousness for your own learning. If you cannot learn yourself, you cannot teach others. And if you cannot teach others, you cannot be a professional or a teacher, because professional is always a teacher first, and then he is learner first. Self-teaching is important, teaching is important, learning is important. You are a learner in your university, you are a learner in your college, you are a learner in your beginning, but now you are a learner as well as a teacher. You have to teach yourself, you have to teach your juniors, you have to teach your staff, you have to teach your friends, you have to teach everybody. If you cannot teach yourself, Father, if you cannot do yourself, you cannot lead yourself, you are not a proactive person, you are not a proactive professional, you cannot think, you cannot conceive, you cannot find one way or other or 10 ways for one way. If there is a construction method, you have to chart out how many methods you can do. You have to see which one is best for you, where you can save time, where you can save money, where you can find the comfort of working. All this you have to think, and only then you can be called a professional. It doesn't matter, even if you work in design, you have to think about which best design is. You have to think about how best you can do. You have to think about how this design shall match in a better way on site. You have to think what should be best size. You have to think many things which are not given in books, which are not given in text, which are not given by professors, which are practically oriented. For example, you are designing a beam, exposed beam or a concealed beam. Both are there. Concealed not in a structure, concealed in say a false ceiling. Suppose there is a beam which is in false ceiling. Shall you provide chamfering on that or not? Chamfering means a corner is cut out, beveled. That's called chamfering. You have to see air conditioning ducts are there or not, falsing is required or not. All these issues you have to consider yourself. It's not that easy, it's required technicalities. You cannot depend simply on drawings. Drawings may make mistakes, drawings may give miscalculations, drawings give you information which are not directly applicable to site. You have to see what type of steel you are going to use, what diameters are available. Shall this cause problem to me? Shall I use overlaps in every case? If the diameter is 20 mm or 25 mm, shall you still depend or rely upon overlapping? Is that right professionally? It's not professionally wrong, but is that working on? You have to think yourself whether you shall use mechanical connectors or shall overlap. It's up to you to decide. Shall you have to think? Shall you accept the steel reinforcement delivery as people bring in trucks after bending bars and then rebending them, straightening them, and reason? You have to think all this. It's not that easy. It is a complicated job. People are not interested in delivering quality control or quality materials, but they are interested only in finishing a job just to make money. And that is what is required. Means we have to check all these things. If you cannot do this, means you are not doing justice to yourself. So yesterday that I included this document, which I just named as the note for professionals. And the first part is that projects requirements and brief talk about that, which I yesterday did. Then second one was project management concepts and its necessity. It was again project management, a brief analysis to understand how to integrate project plan with required knowledge areas. And then it was structure sequences of project management, knowledge area requirements, risk response management. So I'll go to is just browse this, and again in forward I just wrote this paper talks of real project management only. Contents well known to you have been inserted in the round pages. Project management applications are well known to all engineers, but presentation is an attempt to refresh reader by a brief deliberation. At the end of presentation, one should feel comfortable about process, precise refreshing, and then part one was project requirements reasons, a brief talk, evaluation of society and development. Then it was marketing demand for all operating unit organization, and then it was business need of commercial houses, and then it was customers request for modification, followed by technological advances in globe, further followed by legal requirements for implementation of laws, and then followed by social needs fulfillment. And then part two contained project management concept and necessities, which was defined there. What is project management? And again, I explained to you what is project management. This is not simply management term. This is a governance term. You have to govern your project. You have to do your project as a servant, as a man of honor, and you have to think yourself what you want to do. Means you have to develop the part three content project management. There was understanding of project management. What project management is? There were parameters for decided. That's like scope is there, quality is there, time is there, cost is there, risks are there, human resources are there, procurement is there, communication plans are there. These are 8. Scope is 1, quality is 2, time is 3, cost is 4, risk is 5, human resources 6, procurement 7, and communication 8. Out of this, there is a triangle or management which is called quality, time, and cost. These are basic requirements. If you comply with quality, if you comply with time, if you comply with cost, you are a successful deliverer of a project. If you don't comply with this, all things go back. The scope is defined. You can change, you cannot change depending on contract. There is a risks are involved, human resources are involved, procurements are involved. So brief analysis of further is given to integrate project plan with required. So we just talked of this all in the last video. I will not repeat this. Who are involved in solution, I just explained who are involved. The parties were named in that, and there's no many of repeating that. And there was what type of projects are manageable. I just explained about that, and then I explained about we discussed about field and we discussed about Feed is very important document, front end engineering designs, which is very base of any of our project. And part 4 was project stages. As I said, stages are there. Scope charter is there. I explained about charter, what it is, project charter, and then I said quality standards to be achieved on deliveries, and then time, significant factor governing project stages, and then there's cost affecting all parties involved on project, and the risk factors affecting all, and the risk impacts due to change in scope, and the risk impacts due to change in quality standards, and then risk impacts due to changes in schedule time, and then risk impacts due to changes in cost, and risk impacts due to partly unknown scope, and the risk response plans for risk management plan, and this was then plans for elaborated and human resources affecting cost, time, manpower, etc. Quality standard, cost element scope, it was there. And yes, I'll now stop here and come on further, because up to this I explained yesterday. And also 6 is human resources affecting cost, time, manpower, quality standards. Cost element scope. Entire project to an extent of 30 to 50% of possible cost of project is consumed by human resources. 30 to 50% of possible cost of project is consumed by human resources depending on type of projects. These costs involve all human resources from all stakeholders from whatever party so involved. Parties may be external or internal or consumer or client. Team members may be virtual or integrated on project centrally. This factor requires in-depth consideration to control expenditure on project cost. What it says means most of civil engineering or construction or other projects, where element of labor, element of manpower is too high, workforce is too high, 32%. It's not simply on working site. We are getting material also. We are spending labor, we are employing labor, we employ labor on sites, they work on all activities, civil engineering, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, installation activities, manufacturing activities, as well as those products which we import from other vendors. For example, we are importing concrete, ready-mix concrete, we are importing brickworks, we are importing stock machines, we are importing materials. These materials must have consumed some costs on workforce in workshops or in factories. Or means that's the reason we are taking 30 to 50% of possible costs on human resources. Is very important, and this involves all human resources from whatever source I said, and this may be external or internal or consumers from everywhere taking, and team members are virtual and integrated means virtual team members are there. Some people are not working on site; they're working off site, so they're somewhere else in factory, in workshop, or somewhere else, and we are using their service for that. But this virtual team members or we integrate them from everywhere and use them on this project. These days, is a computer world; these terms are applicable. So, in-depth consideration is required for that. When the required plans are there, efficient plan is required for. Efficient plan is required for how to utilize optimally humans on activities. It is too easy to waste this resource on whatever project. Cost on these factors wastage cannot be recovered by whatever recoverable means. Once you waste some human resources means it has gone. It is not recoverable. Expertise and potential as an average shall affect strength requirement on whatever project. Dedicated commitment shall also affect required team strength. Extra use of work hours shall affect strength, as well as extra use of working hours affect expenses on overheads such as establishments, camping, transport, and other facilities. Right? Do you understand? It is too easy to waste whatever resources you have. They can sit, not don't work. They can double work. It depends. Expertise and potentials is different. They are experts, or they are average, or they are not experts. They are not skilled. It all depends upon. But time can be wasted. We need dedicated commitment. We want to use time out of 8 hours or 10 industrial hours, best possible results, and not wasted results. Move in and move out. Mobilization stage means move in. Mobilization stage, usable duration, demobilization time, right? Mobilization stage means coming into site for certain period. Then usable duration is for how many months they were there or how many days they were there. Then demobilization is they leave the site. Time schedule for human resources are concrete requirements. We must know before initiation of project all these requirements to manage some project successfully. We say, come what may. Don't worry about it. You have to do it. Come what may. It is foreseeable that personnel have to move out of project one day. Yes, it is definite. They have to move out of project once. That is called demobilization. After no requirement is left, means if there is no requirement, you cannot leave them there on site and go stay there for no work. No, that is not impossible. That is not possible. It's not allowed. You cannot do it. It's waste of money. Moved out personnel, now personnel have moved out personnel shall be either transferred to other projects or to their parent functional managers. Those who are not on record, committed, and efficient shall have to face permanent demobilization, while dedicated hardworking personnel may be motivated by promotions. Update training may be allowed for certain good personal officers. What it says, and there is no need of people on site, their actions are over, their scope of work has been completed, and they are temporarily working by this contractor or by this company or by whosoever else, client or whosoever owner is there. These people have to leave site, and that is called demobilization. It depends upon management, it depends on the company for which they are working, whether these people are required in some other projects or these are not required somewhere else, or they can alternatively give them some other project. If they are not required, this means they have to further go, they have to leave the company itself, otherwise they can be trained further for some other job if they suit so, and they can be allowed on some other jobs if they learn this after few months of training or few days of training. It depends upon how to digest those people, how to absorb those people who are now rendered layoff or surplus, or you can allow them on some other projects, transfer them to some other project. It depends upon management, what type of company is this, what type of people are there. Continuity is required, continuity must be there in a profession, in a tradition. In a vocation, if continuity is required, person get money as well as person get manufacturing experience, as well as continue and get more and more expert, because expert is achieved, attainment is achieved, and once more expertise is achieved, means person is more useful on whatever project he is updated, he is upgraded, he is having a current expertise, and is more reliable than a new person who's coming in and learn on site first and then make mistakes and then learn better than what I said. A demobilization must be transferred some other mobilization. Motivation, mobility. This feeling can generate a degree of inefficient performance. Motivation, mobility. This feeling can generate a degree of inefficient performance on person concerned that should be monitored by project team leader or project manager. Next mobilization project should be entrusted to concerned but efficient person in advance, so that working pace is not affected at all. What does actually mean? What happens? Professionals don't think like that, but some professionals still think like that, or para-professionals still think like that. If this project is over, I have no job. This happens. I have personally seen this. Some people think I am here for so many months. I have been working on this project for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. This project I contributed a lot. But now, because this project is only having 20% work or 15% work, 25% work, after a few months we have to hand over this project to the client, and I am rendered jobless. So he starts thinking, that guy starts thinking for himself, if I complete this project, means I have to go. My job is over, my salary is finished, and what I do? So he starts working slowly with less space, reduced space, which is not acceptable. Even engineers, I have seen such people. I will not name and I will not take the nationality, but these people start thinking that way. Oh, we don't have job, company is not going to get job, and visa is a problem. We cannot transfer visa, and all this happens. This is humanity. Everybody wants economical life. They want to earn. They go somewhere else, not to, for social survey or social service or social security, but they want their job security, and this happens. We have to be careful about that. This is a very important factor. But this, we have to be careful about that. Howsoever, let's go further. Procurement, deliveries of materials and equipment. Now, procurement. What is procurement? Procurement means procurement of materials, procurement equipments, procurement manpower, procurement services, procurement of whatever you need in a profession. It doesn't matter only procure. Just like we say, what contract it is? It is lump sum contract. Okay, it is lump sum contract, but based on what? Is for construction lump sum. No, it is only on for construction, or it is for design also. They say it's for design and construction, or they say it is EPC. What is EPC? EPC means engineering and procurement and construction contract. Engineering, procurement and construction contracts. So means it's a part of engineering as well as it is construction and procurement. All this is there. Procurement doesn't mean material only. Procurement material, procurement services, procurement other services, procurement human resources, procurement with expertise and selling expertise. All that is called that procurement. So there are different meanings applicable at different instances, at different states of contact and different companies and different organizations with different people. So on an average here in this discussion, because it is meant for projects of construction and designs, it is generally meant for you can say material procurement. Let us start now gradually in this, which is really uh, procurement, if neglected, start like that. Procurement, if neglected, can jeopardize whole project. You know jeopardize? Yes. Means put project in danger, is progress in danger. Procurement, if neglected, can jeopardize whole project to an irrecoverable status. Means we can lose time, we can spoil project progress if procurement is neglected, and it is to such an extent that we cannot recover that easily. From impending constraints, there may be some constraints without procurement that cannot move further, and those constraints and activities can further hamper other activities in sequence. It has been seen on many projects that it impacts a loss to project budget cost due to non-availability of a sustainable time schedule as well as absence of competent staff. Once again, I did for convenience, not explaining but reading so that you may not forget. I am speaking very fast. Procurement of neglected can procurement, if neglected, if it is ignored, can jeopardize whole project to an extent irrevocable status from impending constraints. It has been seen on many projects that it impacts a loss to project budget cost due to non-availability of a sustainable time schedule as well as absence of competent staff. Next is procurement of projects, designs in design and build or EPC contracts constitutes a very significant part of deliverables without which nothing would move on site or in project office either. Some designs are done by organizations' home office, while some are outsourced by organizations. In both cases, design requires detailed engineering requirement, studies, and applications of detailed engineering for deliverables. Highest degree of coordination would become a sole requirement among various disciplines. It requires a thorough process, implementation during execution, monitoring, and controls. During execution and by imposition of certain risk factors, design reviews and updates shall regularly be conducted. Another point of attention requires intensive surveillance is that designs and their reviews and updates must be kept under line of allocated budget. Procurement, I'm just speaking for you. We'll discuss later after this speech is correct, is over. Procurement is tried in many organizations by deploying low profile staff with lower strength than as demanded for making timely procurement of required materials. Generally, major long lead items are delayed due to cost reason or due to change on once agreed vendor for sake of reduced rates from another vendor. It has to be integrated properly with project plan and must be followed aggressively by project manager. Full force is required to be applied to procurement personnel by management team so that deliveries of procurement items are made timely. Timely materials approvals are required and should be effected by project management team or by project management office aligned with procurement operation office. Delay on important items can cause havoc to project from all aspects of other resources. Delays on procurement can certainly require a rearrangement of activities schedule and also would import wastage of manpower as well as time should this be not foreseen. Expediters or coordinators are deployed at various significant stages of materials and equipment procurement to keep deliveries in defined point of time. Necessity requires that organization must have approved procedures to deal with hundreds of vendors and various subcontractors. All vendors require operating support from contractors, both contractually and financially, require letter of credits and other local purchase orders must be given due regards to expedite deliverables procurement. This small note which I read for you is for procurement, which is very significant part of whatever project is in progress. If procurement is not effectively maintained, if deliveries of materials are not procured and delivered to site before date of their installation, because once procurement is done, payment made, materials has to start coming to site, and this material shall have to be inspected by concerned officials from contractor as well as from consultant and as well as from others whosoever are involved in that project. Those people shall also take certain time, and those people may reject some material which will require replacement. So it is very significant to see that material procurement must move very rapidly in a way to meet whatever schedule has been planned, but a milestone date of delivery has been fixed, that must be respected in each and every way. And what happens there, that you take one quotation, one tender from someone and offer someone from some vendor, and then that meets project requirement and that gets approval from relevant authorities. But what happens later, your procurement manager wants to save money for project, what is the secret? Another vendor, and then another vendor compares the cost and negotiates with them and tries that, let us say 10% cost is reduced or 5% cost reduced by other vendor, and this happens, he tries to make availability of another vendor parallel or two more vendors parallelly with the cost reduction of 10%, 5%, and he thinks, oh, leave it first vendor, will take matter to second vendor and the third vendor. What it does, it accumulates time wastage. For example, there was one vendor, it was approved, metal was approved. That vendor, you place the order, you have to place the order, but you didn't place the order in time. You say, no, I will wait another for the, you just negotiate other one, and you may say waste 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 1 month or 2 months, and then another 2 months. It goes on accumulating wastage of time of procurement, and it delays procurement. That is very different, and you don't procure material in time, which means on site it shall impact upon adversely. Once project construction person responsible for project shall not get material on site, that material cannot be inspected by relevant authorities, and it takes time, and there will be confusion. Time of material is not material time is not sorry, when material is not it's in time, work activities cannot start and site person has to wait, and it adds to delay on site. Same thing happens with very item which is very important, long lead item we talked about. Long lead item is very important. Suppose project is over 2 years or 1.5 years or 1 year, and there is some item which requires to a manufacturing time, say 1.5 years. There are some machines, some equipment which is like that. Means if you place order in time accordingly, it shall be delivered to site in time or project in time. But what happens? Contract is of 1 year, and also this item takes 1 year for manufacturing and delivery. So it is impossible for that contractor to place order accordingly to meet requirement. What happens in such cases where long lead items are part of contract? It is duty of a person or owner or a consultant or person responsible for tendering that for that item he has to work just like a contractor. He places orders, he quantifies material, he does everything, and that contract is signed with vendor before construction or implementation contract vendor is selected. So that consultant or engineer has to deal with a vendor of that material and decide and agree on a contract, which contract shall be transferred later by virtue of operation of law to new contractor, means project contractor. And that process of transfer of responsibility, transfer of contract, transfer of obligation, transfer of accountability, transfer of liability to a new party other than engineer and manufacturer, to a new party, that is contractor, is called by in law by a title, contractor title, document title name, novation of contract. So that long lead item can lead to novation of existing contract. Whatever contract was executed between that owner and manufacturer shall remain intact, shall remain enforced with responsibilities of second party transferred to new contractor. First party shall remain same, second party shall be transferred to new contractor, and new contractor or project contractor shall in full capacity, absolute capacity, be accountable and responsible and obliged according to provisions of original contract, which is now novated. That is for long lead item. This is a very significant term for purpose of understanding for professionals and for freshers. Similarly, for EPC, which this happens, which is engineering procurement concern, so many items are involved which require designs, and designs are delayed, which impacts upon procurement. Designs are delayed, and orders procurement for metals are delayed. This happens. It's very, very bad actually. And coordination, yes, when there you are dealing with hundreds of materials, you have to coordinate. Procurement may not know complete specifications. The procurement may not know quantifications. All these requirement means you have to get quantification either from your own quantity surveyor which you employed in an office. If you don't have that quantity surveyor or experts or discipline engineer, you have to demand this from site or from project manager if he has got someone, or you have to outsource that quantification, and then you have to work out all the specifications. If specifications are not available, you have to demand what specifications are applicable, and if there are clarification required, you have to demand that. All that is a part of coordination. Either you do it from your procurement section or let site people support you. It depends upon how you manage it. That is very complicated job. Expediters are required, coordinators are required, coordination for of specifications, coordination to drawings and drawings, coordination to drawings, or technical coordination to codes, or good industrial coordination, as well as process coordination. You are writing to vendor, you are writing to some other contractor, you are writing to many vendors for quotations. For you have to provide all information which expected by them, these people. And if you don't provide them, it's no use. You cannot get correct, reliable quotations from those contractors, because it is your duty to provide BOQ if it's required. Maybe this vendor will work out, but you have to provide support to him. Whatever BOQ you have, just for guiding, for you have to provide project specifications, you have to provide general specifications of that project, or an alternative submission you have to provide, or you have to ask him for. These are requirements in codes, these are requirements in the field, these are requirements, whatever it is, and you have to propose materials in a professional way. You have to certify, you can say submit compliance statement for alternate materials. These are all requirements. You have to submit that this material is suitable, this material is comparatively. All this is professional work. It's not easy. Coordination is very important. Coordination makes a project. If there is no coordination procurement, it means it is very difficult for purchase of a project. Let's say this is just brief again procurement, and it's not that easy. Means you need a lot of work on that. So we'll now go to, I talked about timely material approval and all that is required, because every material, see the process is every material requires approval. Maybe it is given, there are a few material mentioned in contract, but list of material says this, either use this manufacturer or use this manufacturer, or use this manufacturer, this code and that code, use this. In that case, you have to see that whatever material is proposable, you have to write that to owner or to engineer and get it approved first before placing an procurement order. Procurement order cannot be placed before material is approved. This is contract provision, this is contract law. And this takes time. And when I said delay is there, means everything is delayed. So only extract from this talk is the necessity requires that organization must have approved procedures, a document, procurement method statement, procurement guidelines, they must have to deal with hundreds of vendors. Yes, there are hundreds of vendors in every company dealing with, and various subcontractors. All vendors require operating support from contractors, both contractually and financially. Required letter of credits known as LCs and other letter like local purchase order (LPOs). So LCs and LCOs can be local as well as this can be international. It depends. Must be given to due regards to expedite deliverables procurement. So procurement is not that easy. I should not say that easy. Means everything is easy or difficult. That's something else. But it requires your attention. It requires your management. It requires your concept. It requires your concentration. It requires your efficiency, proficiency. It requires that you are a professional. It requires that you understand project. It requires that you know what you have to do. It's not in random in darkness you move and see what they give me, they show me this, and it's not foolishness. It is profession. You first understand as a procurement engineer or a project manager, who if you are working as a project engineer as well as a project manager as well and procuring yourself, you have to understand drawings, you have to understand quantities of some items, some article, goods, or whatever it is, and you have to check, you have to examine specifications, project specification, general specification, specialist specification, and you have to understand applicability of codes. It is European code, it is American code, it is British code, it is Indian code, it is whichever code it is. You have to make sure what is applicable according to provisions included within contract documents, and contract documents with specifications as well everywhere, or standard specifications or specific specifications or particular specifications, whatever is involved. As a procurement manager or as a procurement engineer or a project manager or a project engineer, you have to analyze and collect information from all analysis. In a way, you submit documentation to vendors in a speaking status. And speaking doesn't mean tongue speech. Speaking means clarification and package of information. Best information is that which doesn't demand another document from you, and vendor thinks that everything is available, based on which information that vendor must submit to you. Reliable quotation with minimum degree requirement of future negotiations, and that is called competitive quotation, competitive offer demanded by a competitive professional, a consistent and competent professional procurement manager or engineer or a project manager or a project engineer or an agent. That is most important. If you cannot do that, you are wasting your time, you are wasting vendors time, you are wasting project time, because faulty information, defective information shall procure defective quotation. And then you examine quotation, you compare what is required by contract and what is offered. There is a discrepancy. This is not make compliance. Even one point doesn't comply means it is not acceptable. That is reason vendor should be given a package, comprehensive package of requirements. Otherwise, don't expect a professional quotation or a professional offer to be given to you by a professional vendor. They can imagine anything. They have to sell their goods. They are vendors. They are not sitting just for sake of enjoyment. They want money. They will just support you. They will give you whatever they think. But problem comes in, they are not professional as well, you are not. Because writing is misplaced. They don't write, they just this. I have seen many quotations, but they say there's some 50 items we demand for, they say, okay, this is this rate, this is by others. This is this rate, this is by others. This by others brings a big problem, because either they don't understand what you demand, or they are not manufacturing that one, or they are not dealing with that, which causes a major problem. Because there are 10 quotations, for example, one is giving 50 out of 50, another is giving 40 out of 50. third one is giving 45 out of 50. So there is no way to compare. You cannot compare all, because you did not know what that vendor can do and what this vendor can do. There is a big confusion, big mix up, and this adds to wastage of time. Because if there's suppose 10 items you cannot buy from this vendor, from where shall you manage those 10? That is the question. And if all items are not delivered, you cannot move activities. Even if you have 39 items delivered out of 50, one item is missing, you cannot complete that job. So it is also a part of professional engineering, how to procure materials for projects, how to procure services for project. Each and even a nail, sometimes nail, in Arabic we call mesmar, keel in Hindi. Even a nail can stop your project. Shuttering can stop your project. Tie bolts can stop your projects. Sand can stop your project. Tiles can stop your project. There have been instances. Shortage of tiles resulted. They got tiles from Italy to Doha or Italy to UAE or some other country or any country to any whatever country. What happened? And they found 10 square meter tiles or 50 square meter tiles fell short of. Project was to be handed over, but there was a shortage of 10 square meter tiles or 20 square meter tiles or 50 square meter tiles. What to do? You cannot use other tiles on that project. They placed order for air freight. Air transportation from Italy to Doha, example. You have to spend money. They must have tiles first. Only then they can airship. This cause panic. Work stops just for 10 square meter, 50 square meter. You can hold project. You just think that way. It's not everything in hand. You go to market to buy vegetable, give me potato, give me this, give me carrot, give me this. And if something is not able, leave it, no problem. Take tomato, take potato. It's not vegetable. It's not kulcha chola. It is project. Something in writing, agreement. Contract has some agreement with client, and client has some agreement to contract. If your project is delayed, client's use of project is delayed. And client's use of project means process. If there is a refinery, if there is a plant that cannot work, if there is a building that cannot be used, that can be occupied and rent is affected or something else is affected, if that party has to sell these apartments to someone, cannot be sold or subject to conditions that can be sold. So there are such complexities involved which procurement can master it or destroy it. It's that difficult a job. So we need competent professionals. I have seen certain companies, many companies, not certain, they take procurement too lightly. Why? But this is procurement, just a question of material negotiations, quotation. Why an engineer is required for that? Why a qualified person just take someone from BCom or someone and put him there as a manager, procurement manager? I have seen this happens, but this is really not acceptable on engineering projects, because procurement must know what is engineering about this, what is technology about this, because that person has to deal with those and who come and raise questions. Example is, for example, lift is involved, elevator is involved, hoist is involved, or you can say some cradle is involved, or some machine is involved, or some specific items are involved, and some gantry is involved, or whatever is there is involved. Structural steel is involved, bearings are, TPFE bearings are involved, or many chemical items are involved, and such technicalities are involved which a person from field of engineering cannot handle. That person, if employed for procurement, every time when information is sought by vendor, that person certainly shall transfer that question to site person or engineer and waste his time, and there shall be requirement of again another coordination to satisfactorily answer those queries and view further documents, which certainly is not appropriate. Best thing is that there must be some professional engineer or some technical person who understands engineering, who understands everything, and then deals with procurement of materials, procurement of services, procurement of equipment, procurement all equipment on site, procurement of whatever required on site, water services requirements, electrical services requirement, mechanical services requirement, civil services requirement, electronic services environment. What happens? There are so many systems now. It is an electronic world. SCADA is there, and many other systems are there which are specific. CCTV is there. All these require certain extreme responsibilities which only professionals can understand. And coordination problem goes on increasing and augmenting on every project. People don't coordinate properly. People can't read properly. There may be thousands of pages and specifications on every project in every discipline. Who has time to read this? And without going through that, they just browse their onlines, they browse their data and go through superficially. They don't go through insert. They don't go through in-depth study, and that results in lapse. What happens? You are getting some quotation, you rely on that, but there is some missing point. You are not comparing what is the requirement of project, and you miss that, and you just transfer that material submitted to engineer to honor, and there comes another specialist say no, there is something missing, this is not. There he writes some comments that this is either approved with comments or rejected, and then this is what I did. Everything you found that there is no compliance, you had to complete. You have to submit comparative statement of compliance, but that didn't happen. So you miss time. It took just say 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or a month, and you wasted that month. You could not place order for material, and this is very common nowadays because there is no habit of reading documents. There is no habit of reading anything. People, culture of reading has gone. Books reading has gone. People are not studying anything. They are just depending on talkings. That doesn't work in projects. You have to be very serious. Seriousness is very important. No seriousness means you are losing time, you are losing money. Seriousness has been disappeared, is destroyed. People are wearing very good clothes, they are sleeping in fact. The eyes are open but minds are sleeping. They are not concentrating. Concentration is very important in every field. Better procurement requires concentration. I have seen materials procured, but those materials were not required, and quantities were surplus or reduced quantity. They fell short. Is an example I gave you what regarding tiles, what fell short. There are airlift tiles from Italy to Doha, which costs and which creates panic. And say that range is not available, or that color is not available, that size is not available, that thickness is not available. In that case, you have to manufacture first. That is the reason 5% extra variation is required. But even if 5% inclusion doesn't solve your problem, more than you have to calculate in a professional way. Each size, each wall, everything. Just don't be blank in ordering. Oh, just out of this much, and we'll see later on. It usually happens with plumbers, fitters. If you ask them what gives electricians, for example, electric foreman, you ask some electrical foreman, just give me details of what you require distribution. He will say, take this block of bands and long bands and radius bands and pipes, so many bundle of pipes. Same thing, plumbers say, get this elbow and get this T section, get this sand cast iron pipe, or get this plastic pipe and this code. So just get a stock of this. It happens when just they blindly they order. They know engineer cannot work on this. They know very well. All these technicians, they are so smart, they understand that professional who is employed as a boss, he cannot calculate all these things. This is a practical fact, because we are not experienced well to calculate it. We just say, okay, just lump sum order and we will see later on. It suppose doesn't happen. Means once I was in Libya, and our Libyan manager said, I asked him, we want so many bags of so many, whatever item I claimed that we want this much quantity. Add half of this or more. Why? It is Libya. Sometimes not even nail is available. His comment was like that. I was surprised to know that. Means they said you cannot find this material in time. What to do? So you have to arrange now. We can wait. We can wait for another use, but you place order more quantity. Well, we'll go further. No, not just hamper here. Now we'll go to communication. This is procurement of communication. Transparency, conferencing, electronic medium, who should get it, most significant part on project, managers' roles, responsibility, communication, foremost job in management. You know all what is communication. You are doing communication with you're doing chatting, you're doing everything, you're writing. Of course, lack of writing is there, I understand that. People these days are not interested in writing, and if they write on the internet language. Considered on low profiles by major organizations, but It is an exclusive significant factor that counts on project progress. Keeping project management team informed in addition to senior management team is an utmost requirement. Communication plan must be made. You will be surprised to know there's a plan as well, communication plan. Communication plan must be made, designed for implementation from beginning of project about who would be responsible for making communication to designated personnel, both legally or functionally or operatively involved to receive communications of whatever sort. Plan must show limitations about who should get what documents based on defined periods. Decision on how to classify is a must about level of transmission of documents to top management, senior management or to project team. Plan must define what documents should go to other stakeholders. This is self-explanatory. No need for explanation for this. You know, simple English. Meetings are, in fact, an important medium that can help involved parties about updates on project or review of status. Such meetings should be conducted under circulated agenda to avoid any aid taking during meeting. Unnecessary arguments should be avoided. Meetings should be discussed from points to points. No intervention should be allowed in a irrelevant manner. If intervention constitutes relevance, that should be accepted or should be taken for any other business topic or column. Agenda should be adhered to during whole hour of meeting. Whatever participant trying to diversify agenda should be requested to discuss later or after meeting. Status meeting should cover in general all points on project to reflect a gross picture of project for appraisal by all stakeholders. Where actions are required, name or designation of personal or stakeholder owning actions should be indicated. It is also self-explanatory. Nothing requires major explanations or elaborate explanation. It should be remembered that minutes in itself is an informative record until accepted by all parties concerned. After accepted, after accepted in next meeting, it becomes a project record. Possible actions must be requested to be taken by non-attending stakeholders by further correspondences or electronic mails as suitable. Electronic mails are preferred, keeping in view fast transmission of information. Meeting should not be too long or too short to avoid personal interests. Who shall attend such meetings must be defined on project plan. All important progress meetings require minute records or minute records for circulations among stakeholders and participating personnel. Other non-status review meetings can be recorded in files only for review. Detailed technical meetings and other coordination meetings may not go to all stakeholders or others, but only to team members dealing with details. Important brief meetings should also be recorded as brief points of discussion for necessary actions. After required circulation is made to those present and copied to management. All minutes are to be all minutes are to be rediscussed in following meetings so that no issues may be left from decision making or from implementations. Even an agreement could be minutes. Even an agreement could be minuted about acceptance of previous minutes so that minutes become part of undisputed records. On projects, habit of forgetting decisions or follow-up is too normal, keeping in view intense business on activities. Meetings with project team as well as with senior management help in resolving issues of all problems. Project issues can be tried to be resolved to certain extents during meetings that extend opportunities to all responsible personnel face to face to discuss and reach certain solution. These discussions shall allow certain sacrifices of egos from conferring personnel to reach certain solutions under constraint of cost, quality, and time. It should be noted that open meeting is a source to allow all team members to speak and raise viewpoints, technically or otherwise, to push project progress. Team members definitely got difference of opinions while open discussion in presence of all responsible for projects allow presentation of views for a possible optimum solution. Communication must be defined in clear blues or terms for all knowledge areas so that effective integration with execution plan is done. Conveniently, all definitions must be made understandable by all experts and non-experts personnel. All team members, staff, site personnel, and others must be informed about their part of decisions or agreed discussions during meeting so that they can act upon their parts respectively after being instructed by owner of actions. Communication, just spoke about. It is heart of a project if it is done properly, or it's a big blunder or a bomb if not done properly. What happens? Everything is right on project. Design is available, informations are available, professionals are available, solutions are available, materials are available, and everything is available except communication. A drawing is approved, say, is issued for construction, already issued, but there has been a revision a week later and that was superseded, for example. Superseded drawing is with document controller. He fails to inform real professional on site, relevant professional on site, and professional on site doesn't receive that updated drawing but already got rejected drawing or you can say superseded drawing. There is a gap. That document controller is unable by whatever reason not to inform concerned official or person, and that person keeps on working based on that superseded drawing. This is called failure of communication. I'm not blaming here document controller, I'm not just blaming lack of professionalism. Person who was required to get that information on site in time bound manner before starting activity relevant to that drawing fails to get that information due to whatever reason from project document controller, which causes big mistake on site. It can cause mistake because site work would move by in time according to plan or according to requirement. Nobody wants to waste time. But after doing that work, if it is discovered that this work was done based on superseded drawing, you can see what shall happen. If it is so concrete work, it's something else. You cannot change it easily. Once concrete is poured and hardened, it's not in your hands. You cannot do anything. It's an example. See, it applies to so many other things, so many other issues. Some changes on contracts, some changes on drawings, some changes on designs, information seeking, clarification requirements, site technical queries, design queries, other clashes on site. These are not communicated to people who are responsible for working on that, and these stop somewhere in transmission lines and doesn't move to end user or end worker. There is no meaning of transmission that way. Means this failure of communication imparts adversely on activities, and in that case, in such many cases, it has been observed that these items are approved for reworking. Either destroy them, dismantle them, or rectify them and rework, or completely take them out and do again. This is failure of communication. Purchase order has been made, but it is not clear whether it suits site's activities or not. There are so many method statements required, there are so many designs required, there are many proposals are required, but are not submitted in time because these were not prepared in time. And site was held just because of that. Somebody talked to you on site, some instructions came from some official from other party, you just accepted that, but you did not inform your boss, or you did not take in writing that instruction, and you did work accordingly and work was done not per instructions. No writing was taken, and that impacts projects. So communication means every information should be forced to reach to whatever person that applies in time, not off time. If it doesn't reach in time, means all acts, just like I said, designs. If designs are not done well, or if done well and not explained well to a person whom you should consider layman on site, and that person does his way without even valuing your design, or without looking at your design and doing it his industrial way, industrial good way, that causes problem. So communication, you can say, of course it is not basic requirement, but it's a real requirement. Communication on drawings, communication of information, communication of specifications, communication of contact, means person who is doing this must know what is doing is right or it is not right, and that is where problem arises. If only one person is dealing on a small projects, that is no problem, that person has to see self. But where a group of persons are required, managers are required, group of many qualified people are required, always mistakes happen there, always, because many people means many disturbances, lack of concentration, lack of interconnection, lack of interactive management, and egos on top of all. So we have to be professional. We have to avoid failure of communication, communication by tongue and communication by computer and communication by writing and communications by general many other methods. If I say something, don't forget it, and you will not forget it only when you have some paper in writing. But what happens? I told you, you didn't do this. This is American style. I don't believe this. Give a paper and instruct, let him read. And again, when it doesn't, you have given paper, I gave you this, you read. You can pinpoint that. But people don't like this nowadays. Go to other country, go to Saudi, go to telephone, mobile. Suraj, tell me this, why didn't you call me? I sent you mail. Oh, I have no time to read mail. Why don't you call me? Just call me, and you have to call him, he has to call someone else, and he has to call someone else. And again, you have to call him for something else. Means in 2 hours, I have to make 10 calls. And he has to make 20 calls. He is not receiving my call, he's talking to someone else. If I ask my senior, I'm calling him. I'm not getting response because he's busy. By the time he's free, I'll be busy somewhere else. It is engineering work. I cannot stick for one activity of 10 hours a day. I have to work one activity maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. If I'm writing something long, it may be taking half an hour in drafting. Or if just talking to someone and then if there's 2 minutes to talk or to 5 minutes to talk, means I forget what I told him and he forgot what I told him and he forgot what he received from me, he told him something else. This happened. What's the meaning of the communication? If my communication is received and destroyed, and he received my communication and destroyed, and I received your communication and destroyed because I am talking to you and after 1 minute I am talking to him. So what is the meaning of that communication? Even if I'm using mobile or I'm using a two-way radio or mobile, there is no use at all. I cannot record in my mind. If I record in my mind, I forget because I'm talking to someone else, or I'm tired, I forget, I went to site and forget about what I talked about. Therefore, communication must be considered reliable, and for that, meetings are important. At least you have to record in meeting. I said you yesterday, this is. I'm not writing loans, just points you can write. I told you this, this is your action. I told you this is your action. In senior management capacity, you have to do it in not in. I'm not talking line on front line management. I'm talking of middle management or project management level, because this is day-to-day management. You have to miss something, you have to forget something, you have to avoid that forgetting, because it costs time, it costs money, and it costs you can say reputation. If you rework every time, it costs money, it costs reputation, it costs. There's a supervision site, there's no supervision field, there's no one to check. Means it's bad for you, for your company, for time, for reputation, everything. It's not so easy control. Design you can control, but on project, in sites, everywhere, it's difficult, very difficult. If you have 500 workers, 1000 workers with you, it's too difficult to control them because everyone has his own interest. Let's go further. Project stages or process include. Now, what we are talking, communication, you understood, and communication cannot be described in 5 minutes. It takes hours and hours if you want to understand communications, because there are many types of communication nowadays: electronic communication, physical communication, writing communication, talking communication, and imaginary communication, and communication for long term or on international national communications. There is no way out. Project stages or projects control. Now, initiation, let us say, what are the stages involved in the project? Initiation, planning, right? We initiate something called initiation. Then we plan something called planning. Then we execute or implement, that's called execution or implementation. Then monitoring and updates means monitoring, you have to monitor everything, and update means the change and update. And completion or closing and administrative controls, followed by maintenance. This is total stage of a project. Once again, I say initiation, start it, plan it, execute it or implement it, monitor it or we check it, and update it, monitor and update, and then completion or closing and administrative controls, followed by a maintenance of project and finish. That's it, final completion. These are general processes, general project stages. Now let us go one by one in pointed talk and explanations which are very significant from professional point of view. We can read books in volumes. There can be 10 books for project management in 500 pages each book or 1000 pages book. But you will not get much of that. What you get on projects is by working yourself. If you don't work yourself, you may read 10 books, you may read 50 books, it won't matter. Because same thing will repeat in books and they'll go on explaining and explaining and explaining, but nothing will come to your mind until you do it yourself practically. That is why we call drawing is language. If you explain something 10 times, 20 times in 5 hours and give him a drawing or two drawing, he will understand in half an hour. Because that's a clear language. If you stand on a site, you can understand what type of site it is. If you see drawing, you see you cannot understand everything. It will take time to. So vision is something better than just going through complete details. And if you do both, you are best manager, you are best coordinator, and you are best person for that work. So let us say initiation, or you can say projects, initial, charter, constituents. Charter I explained. Charter is a right, it's a privilege, it's a constitution in itself. It tells what is project, what it is about. Necessity of project. First question arises. Necessity of project plus. I'm now going to talk in pluses because this is like a chart. You can see that file, open that file and see that on page. Well, if you open file, it is on page. I'm talking of 17 of 31 pages. It's always more than half mark. It is 17 of 31 page, and this is necessity of project. Policy compliance of economy plus policy compliance of economy or organization plus service that this project shall serve to economy or organization plus listing deliverables listing deliverables plus listing important milestones plus listing stakeholders plus proposed budget allocation plus availability of basic infrastructure to allow project or acquisition requirements plus defining scope by descriptive statement plus understanding scope by thorough analysis founded on technical or field details provided corroborated by various technological philosophies, plus understanding deliverables probabilities with normal good business risks, plus understanding risks and requirement of risk management plan, plus assessment of goals, plus expected growth of business, plus charter formation, plus charter authorization, plus duration of project, plus existence of project, plus project manager, plus definition and allotment, allocation of resources, plus formal announcement, plus possible required organization type with champion designation, definition, and black belts requirements. These are pluses for charter, initiation and charter. It's not, of course, very long, but it is descriptive. Descriptive in the sense in points and in pluses. This paragraph tells what is initiation of a project and what charter demands. Though charter people don't use in terms on projects, but it doesn't matter even if you don't write charter. But that is a charter, just like our constitution of this country is written Constitution of India or Bharat ka Samvidhan, but in fact that is charter of a citizen, charter of our institutions, charter of this country, how our country, our people have been constituted. That is the right of everyone, right of every institution, right of every citizen, and right of whoever sections are there. That's called charter. Just like our charter of institution of engineers, there was a charter of Madras court, charter of Allahabad court once, and the charter of Bombay court, and once Supreme Court was named as High Court, and that was chartered as well. So charter means a privilege, a written right by law, a written right by sovereign authority. Here is a charter of a project which is written and approved by those who are responsible for this project. This is made by a combination of owner of project, engineer of project, responsibility of project, and those stakeholders who are involved. And in future, how shall it act? This is amendable. That is what it says. And therefore, I explain to you in a very brief way on this bullet paragraph what charter is all about. And again, I read it just because it's a complicated one. Is you cannot remember just in one talk. So we have to say that once again. I just for your information, the initiation project's initial charter constituents, and just for information and to refresh it in your mind. Necessity of project means requirement of project plus policy compliance of economy or organization. It's simple. And services that this project shall serve to economy or organization, plus listing deliverables, plus listing important milestones, plus listing stakeholders, and plus proposed budget allocation, plus availability of basic infrastructure to allow project or acquisition requirements, plus defining scope by descriptive statement, plus understanding scope by thorough analysis founded on technical or feed details provided corroborated by various technological philosophies, plus understanding deliverable probabilities with normal good business trade, business risks, plus understanding risks and requirement of risk management, plan plus assessment of goals, plus expected growth of business, plus charter formation, plus charter authorization, plus duration of project, plus existence of project and plus project manager, and plus definition and allotment allowing allocation of resources, plus formal announcement, plus possible required organization type with champion designation, defining and black belts requirements. And these foregoing processes are these processes that I just spoke about shall be updated as and when required during currency of life cycle of project. I think you should be clear about what I'm talking of. We are going in not the descriptive project management on this small talk. We are just trying to understand the kind of index one project manager has when a project got in. Because we want to do job. We don't want to waste money in reading these thick books. We have no time. We want to know what we are doing. And these terms are article terms. These terms speak themselves what they are talking of. We don't need to analyze them further. If it says yes, this is required, means required. If there is a risk factor, there is a risk factor. What is the resolution on that risk factor? This we have to solve ourselves. We cannot write each and everything because people cannot read all. And if you make very difficult and like a lawyers do the so thick books, means that you read books whole project, you don't do work. We need direction. What we have to do ourselves. If they say do it, we check risk, we have to check risk. If suppose there's a risk, for example, metal is not in time, there's a risk. If there is a safety equipment is not available, there's a risk. If metal concrete is not delivered time, it is a risk. If supporting material for shutting is not available, there is a risk. If some person working on heights and there's no belt or no line, lifeline behind that person, he can collapse and you asking that person to do this without considering that there is a risk. Such type of risks are involved, which are, of course, you know that. We know what risks are and how can we solve. But what happens when we work on site, we become physical. At that time, our mind does not 100%. When we are in office, we are concentrating on our contemplations, then our mind is more active than our physical work. While in sun, our physical work is more active than our mind. This is human nature. When I am sun in 45 degrees Celsius and 90% humidity, you accept me to be intelligent at that time. For 1 hour when I am in sun, first of all I am exposed to bad weather. Then I am angry because people are not listening. People are not delivering services. People are not doing their way. I have to talk to many people. I have to talk to many foremen, many supervisors. They don't understand. And then you think I should be intelligent at that time. That's impossible. I am using my energy for physical act at that time. But when I am inside, I am free from them. I am using my energy for actual profession. It's my habit on sites. Whenever I'm on site, I used to go during lunchtime to have a round. So then nobody disturbs me what I want to see. Similarly, in off time, you go early morning, you go, or at end of the day, you go for 1 hour and have a route of the site with some your junior. If they are alone, you go. You can at least peacefully write what defects are there, what is required, what is not required. If you go through to when there is a peak work going on, there are 500 people working, and they will come to you. You have talked to them, you forget everything. You cannot write something. It's up to you how to chart out that, and that is also covered in this. This is what you have to do. You have to examine yourself, you have to examine your issues, you have to chart out your own solutions, you have to make your own style, and that is called capacity build up. Your capacity building is also required there. It's up to you. Nobody can teach you. Professors will not tell you what your capacity is, how can you make it. Well, so these initiations of charter, explained yesterday about charter. A charter is a very important document of any project, of whatever project it is. We call it that to just know what it is. Charter. They say project charter it is. Though name is scope charter, and actually scope is project. There are always arguments. Contractor said this is not in my scope and this is in my scope. You instruct him to do this, this is not in my scope. This usually happens, this type of arguments and cross arguments, questions and cross answers. This goes on, we don't mind this. This is because that contract is working for him, I'm an engineer, I'm working for myself, I'm working for my client. So both have different reasons, both have different interests, so it doesn't matter. Question is, charter is a common document. You have to do it. Don't worry about title. When you start some project, you start a filing system, and that filing system gives name of the project, budget. This is who approved this, who is owner, who is architect, who is engineer, and who may be project manager in future, who or to be appointed, you may say, and what this project is, what is its name, what are the combinations, how much concrete is there, how much steel is there, what services, what equipments are required, what temporary equipments are required, and what other items are there, who may be contract expected, who may be this and that. What are principles behind this project? What are scope? Why scope has been decided as such? And what was the reason behind that? Can you make an alternative arrangement for this? If this scope stays there, and you can propose another alternative which can save money, which can save time, which can be better suited to public or for whatever end user it is. All these are required in charter. What type of problems may be there, what type of weather would be there, what type of controls are there, which department it belongs to, what are requirements there, occupancy certificate is required or not required. All these come into considerations of charter. Who are stakeholders there? Who are people who is interested in that? Which banks are involved there? Which financing authorities are involved there? What client is a loan one, or client is supported one, or client is what that expect, whether that client is having financial management or not with him, whether it's reliable or not. All these points are required. Well, who's a designer? Who is a supervisor? Whether designer level? Who is architect? Who is engineer? Who is this and who that? Everything that you can expect that it impacts on project should come, and that is recorded. It's not simply talking. You have to record it, and once record doesn't mean it is permanent. Till project is over, you have to update this. It's a kind of history of project, you must say. Detailed, elaborated history, corroborated history, and if something happens in future, this project comes into dispute, this shall act as a document because this is signed by all parties there. It is signed by contractor, it is signed by client, it is signed by project manager, or if it's available, or it is signed by someone else or some team of experts who are maybe a committee or maybe something else. This charter is a leading document. This charter is a solution document. This charter is a record document. Charter itself is a charter that it commands. You cannot deny that. And it's not one book, it can be 10 books also in future. So charter has different meaning. Just basic meaning is, just like say a charter flight it is, we say, it is chartered because we say. We chartered ourselves for this project. We chartered this. We have to, this man has to, this. Everybody has accountability, responsibility in that. Charter defines. You have to do this, project manager, this is decided. It's not simply as in our country say, oh, whatever I do. For example, no responsibility of him is, just for reference I'm telling you, in our country, what Prime Minister should do is not defined anywhere. Just for your information I'm saying, because we are talking of some contract, and that too is a contract, national contract, constitutional contract. What should president do is not defined, but what should prime minister do is not defined, and what should MP do is not defined. Nothing is defined, simply this qualification and eligibility, that's all. This is a lapse of obligation, but we don't want to do because we are higher in eligibility to those people. Those people are not mandatorily qualified, but we are mandatorily qualified. We are born, we are educated to do better job, higher level of job than those people. You may accept this or you may take it as a laughing stock, take it, but fact is that for a job of a project manager or a professional engineer, you must be an engineer. But to become an MP, you don't need any qualification. You can be a layman. So this is a difference. You are bound to prove that you have got this training. This happened to me in Arab countries. If I talk someone, oh, this is not happening, what to do? You are an engineer. You prove you are an engineer. Do this job, and that's it. Deliver this job. It's not our country. It's not my country. Everybody's boss. I am chief engineer, and you have below me. You do this. I always do this. No. Result orientation, result delivery is a must, that is a must. As Japan says, senior and senior and senior is responsible, not junior, not junior, not junior. I am senior, responsible, I am responsible, I am responsible, I am responsible. That is called management, that is called profession. Take responsibility, don't transfer responsibility to the junior. You protect your junior because he is working for you, he is reporting to you. But what happens? It is reverse here. Nobody takes responsibility, runs away, escape responsibility. A country's culture which escapes responsibility can never develop. Same thing in discipline, in field, in engineering, in management. If we escape responsibility, we cannot develop professions, we cannot develop projects, we cannot develop ourselves, and we cannot be open, we cannot have confidence. If you go for 10 interviews, you will have more and more and more confidence. As the time comes when you will start interviewing the person who interviews you. If you go for interviewing for my first time, you think, oh, this interview. Second time, you will have better comfort. Third time, little advanced. Fourth time, and if stage comes when you are confident, oh, if you don't answer stage, you cannot answer. Okay, I don't know, no problem. I'm not supposed to know everything. You will answer. I'm not expert of everything. It's not, I have not done this. How can I answer you? That person shall on mind, but because you're frank, your confidence. I don't know this. And if you know something and you answer wrong and explain in this impression, okay, it's fine. I was a little mixed up. They will not reject you. But if, oh, no, no, sir. Oh, sir, if you are using 10 times sir in one sentence, certainly you'll be rejected. Because they are not paying you to be to call sir. They are paying you for activity. They are paying you for job. That is important. More and more jobs you do in life, more and more assignments you accept in life, more and more interviews you appear in life, you become gradually higher and higher and higher professional. You can face people, you can face senior, you can face press reporters, you can face anyone, you improve your improvising answers. Improvising is a very important profession. Just don't depend on this vibrate, oh, I don't answer this. Even if you know wrong, you answer it. Let somebody cross you, you cross him. That's all. What shall happen? You must have that much knowledge developed that allows you to improvise. Other person will not raise a question on you. If you don't do that, you shall be raised, you shall be impacted upon by those people. So this is what I'm talking you is not a text. It's no degree, it's no diploma, it's no doctorate. It is only capacity building of a professional. If I can understand something, I have capacity to explain to other person. I make mastery of that by having 50 explanations to 50 persons. Because every time I shall think during talking and add something to that. And after that I will add, and then as stage comes when I start evaluating what I have done. I will add some, I'll find myself, oh, here I was wrong, I was right here, this was my error, this was not my error, and I will make improvement on that. And that is called professionalism. We call it CPD. You know what is CPD? Continuous professional development. You must be knowing, everybody who are dealing with engineering now. Continuous professional development is a must in profession now. Not only engineering profession, every profession. And that is part of what we are doing now. We are doing continuous professional development. I am talking to you, you may be talking to someone else, and someone else talked to me, and I learned from somewhere. And this is a development. I did not confine myself to what I learned 50, 30, 40 years back, 1974, 80. I'm not confined myself to that because that time it was applicable, and that education that time was 20 years old. And now whatever people are learning is also 20 years old. Professors are teaching is 20 years old, but in field we are learning fresh. A design comes on site, a project we are fresh. 50, 100 people were involved, 50 people were involved in production designs. I expect something from those 50 people when I work on that project. There are changes in theories, there are changes in formulas, there are changes in management, there are changes in softwares, and there are changes in the style of presentation. I come at least to learn a part of that. Means out of those 20, 30 designers, I got something. Similarly, a person working on site, he tells this I got a person who gets from 10 engineers something. He's a learning. It's practical learning. If some new material comes, we teach someone else to learn this material. For example, I was in one country, Doha, and there was some material arrived from France for sports courts. You know, these are sports courts, high standing system, comfort system. This was from one France company. Material came, and we have to product on site. We have to produce sports courts, for example, tennis courts, handball courts. This surfacing we have to paint. But we have no knowledge about that. We have no experience about that. An engineer or demonstrator came from France. He demonstrated on site how to do this work. We learned from him. And still today, I remember what he taught us. So maybe that metal been obsessed for high standing system of surfacing. It was a code surfacing that time. We learned from him. One layer is like this, second layer is like this, and he was working such an efficient way that I did not see that efficiency in our country. In our country, people work as if they are kings of this country, but those people, though they have only 8 hours, but 8 hours means our 20 hours, no difference. Not even a single second was wasted. It was such a dynamic way, using squeeze on painting surface in such an, it was 40 degrees, but he didn't care about that. What they will do, they take out shirts in Libya. One, I was on a project. I did this diesel power station foundations, and that French design for their SACEM was company. This when I completed all this construction, my government company, they asked you have to get it certified by original company who produced this design. That came from France. This engineer, and he started checking all acts. Okay, check it, no problem. I did according to drawings. What he did is very hard. So what he was engineer. He started shirt. Only underwear he came up with. He was checking in air, no problem. It's all I do. It's my weather like this. He checked each and everything, but he did not compromise. He asked me many questions. I responded to him. How did you do this? How you do that work? How you worked out that? What is it below foundation? What is isolation of vibrations? What is below that? What is below that and what is below that? Well, opposite on sides mean these are generator equipments were there, generator foundation, alternative foundation was generator foundation were there. There were many trenches, electrical trench pit, cable pits, etc. So he asked each and every according to drawings how it would. Then France design is completely different, so you cannot compare French design to English design or even American designs. France is completely different design. They have their own circuits, their own managements. They don't copy anything. Just like you see Mercedes car, Peugeot car is completely different than what you see Maruti car or what you see in Japanese car and American car. Chevrolet, it's completely these designs. They are original people. They work accordingly. It's the that time culture. I'm not talking about what they do now. Having this is just for reference, for explanation. I submitted. Now come back to other that, because sometimes I want to explain in a different way by taking references to things. Now come to planning, development of project plan, major processes, constituents within planning, knowledge areas, integration with development plan. Title again is planning. I'm talking. Previously, I talked about charter and initiation. Now it is planning. Development of project plan, major processes, constituents within planning, knowledge areas, integration with development plan. Yes, so no problem this time. Planning duration. Now I'll start process. Planning duration plus scope review plus verification plus schedule of missing information plus contract review plus deliveries listings plus deliveries milestones plus listing of sub projects plus project milestones plus impact of liquidated damages plus long lead items plus major items on project plus decision about sequences plus decision about overlapping activities plus work breakdown structures plus work packages plus detailed activities plus activities quantifications plus time allocations to activities based on resources or resources driven time allocation plus allocation of dates plus allocation of direct resources plus application of indirect resources plus resources labeling plus formation of histograms and S curves plus application of material or activities based unit rates cost plus number of man hours plus number of equipment hours plus permissible variation in hours plus probability of fast tracking impacts that may be successfully applied plus calculation of sub-projects cost plus calculation of project cost plus budget estimates plus planned progress histograms or curves plus planned inflow of incoming payment certificates plus cash expenditure based on planned progress plus profit or losses forecasting plus procurement plan or schedule plus material approval schedule plus drawings approval schedule plus staff mobilization and demobilization schedule plus type of project organization recommendation plus critical execution problems plus competency of personal suggestions plus formation of optimized organization chart plus integration of various subjects sub-projects or projects to formulate or produce program plus conferencing proposal among management plus approval and authorization from management plus making submissions to client plus project cost or finance planning plus project organization planning plus project quality planning plus project safety planning plus project systems planning plus project communication planning plus project risk management planning plus project closing planning plus dealing with work suspensions planning plus planning demobilization plus defects remedial planning plus project maintenance planning. Is it not interesting to read like this? Pointed objects, pointed titles. You may not remember all that, but once again I will read just to brief again. This is different kind of paper, different kind of verbatim discussion. I am calling it verbatim because verbatim shorts route and saves time for communication. It may be in writing, but in place of one pointed writing, it could be half a paragraph on one page. So we are just saving time to understand better. And this scope, which I shall again explain and I spoke, is a process. It's a process that is adopted, that is cared of, and that is applied on all projects. Maybe it sways this way or that way, it swaps. Some items may be swapped here depending upon type and nature of project. If I'm talking in general about some building projects or a complex project or a group of buildings and landscape and everything, it can be different one for different projects. For example, in metro, it is not applicable, but there is the same way another one. There is a repetition of activities in metro. There is a repetition of activities in other one. It depends. There's a hospital project is also different, but specialties are different. Building is same. For example, in hospitals, there may be many different OPD, maybe there will be operation theaters could be there, the X-ray rooms, there could be many others. But in fact, building is same. There will be utilities, tunneling, there may be something else specifically, and you have to comply with. There will be equipments, there will be machines, and there could be so many different story buildings depending upon what you are doing there. But basically is same. Planning is same, construction is same, schedules are same, methods are same, probabilities of difficulties are same, design issues are same. So we have to commonize all this. It's not road project. Road has different nature of working. It's not pipeline project. That also has different nature of working. It's neither water resources canal or dam project. It is building, which means build. And build doesn't mean simply build. Build means many sections, planning sections, and before planning, conceive section, and financial section means approval of budgets, budgetary sessions, and then planning, and then development, and then designing, and then design development, and detailing of designs, and then tendering, and agreement of tenders, and award of contracts, and then work on site. That is the difference. So we have to concentrate accordingly what we are talking of. Professionals have to options, many options already. Once again, let me read it for your clarifications what I expected in this para, because I too don't remember every point. Oh, there are so many points in this. I can't remember everything. I cannot memorize it. Because what if you have a concept in your mind, if you plan in mind, a circuit in mind of activities, there is no memorizing anything, because memory doesn't help. We are not having classes, we are not having examinations to pass. We have more than examination, we have to deliver something. We have to deliver results, and we have to work on results. We have to work on manufacturing methods. We have to work on working methods. So once again, I am explaining, I'm just reading this. Planning, development of project plan, major processes, constituents. Within planning, knowledge areas, integration with development plans. And in fact, this is knowledge areas that we are talking. Knowledge area is very big area, and there is no limit in this. Note at all. So I just remove this practice, also a problem for me. Planning duration plus scope, review, and verification. What is planning duration? You have to plan, you have to chart out a time to project. Of course, it is there in contract, but you are a planner of contract as well. You are not simply contractual planner or an engineer's planner. You are a planner of contract. It's called a planner. You have to set a duration for that. Realistic duration, reliable duration. You cannot just imagine if some work takes 3 years and you say, no, I will do in 6 months. That is not proper one. You should be realistic. You should know quantity of work. You should know what manpower is required, what can be available, what cost they can spend at initial stages. And this, if project says for 3 years, should be completed in 1 year, that's nonsense. It may be completed 6 months or 5 months or 4 months this way or that way. That's acceptable. But work is work. Then it comes to scope review. Means you have to see planning duration as a professional, and then reasonably set it in a 5 to 10% variation, plus minus, and then you have to jump to scope review. What scope is there, and verify that. Verification is also important. So planning duration plus scope review and verification means once you verify scope, that cannot be changed. Plus schedule of missing information. You are a planner, you are not a kid, means you are an engineer. If you are a planner, you are not a layman, you are not a clerk. You understand scope, you understand, you verify that. Once verifying that, you will find many discrepancies, you will find many mistakes or errors or missings, and that is called schedule of missing information. You chart out that and solve that and include that in your scope. Once you discover that after having agreements with your owners and whosoever responsible or stakeholders there, then jump plus to contract review. So far you review project. Now you have to go to contract, because contract follows your project basis. Contract review means you have to completely review contract. It doesn't mean you do alone. You do, the expert can review, contract manager can review, or who is responsible for contract section can review. Contract review is very important, because whatever scope you have considered into your in the sections of planning, that must be covered under the scope of contract review. If it misses, means you cannot claim later on you have to do it. Contractor shall not do it. If it is covered, it's not covered in scope of contract. So let us go further. Deliveries listing. When there is a contract must be based on what is to be delivered by contractor, and that's called delivery listings. You must have that deliveries in hand before project is started in construction and planning is finished. If you have delivery list and your contract list means scope you have, and you have a list which shall be delivered by that contract or by that contractor, your headache is over, and then you jump onto deliveries milestones. Deliveries you have a schedule, you have bar chart, you have someone which says these are activities required on this date and this on this, and this is section wise this date this building is required, this date that building is required, this day this part of this project is required, and that is called deliveries or milestones. Deliveries milestones, those milestones have been fixed. So your scope has been fixed, your scope has been refined. For the duration of planning has means you have contract duration, you have scope, you have verification, you have missing information checked out, you have contract review, contract you have, deliveries of listings you have, listing you have, complete scope, and you have milestones. Your perfection has come. Every step you are getting professional perfection. Now come on to next plus, and that is a listing of sub projects. Now you have major projects, you have 10 buildings for example, say you have 5 buildings for example, then you have listing of what sub projects are there. You have to chart out. Sub projects doesn't mean activity, it means a considerable part of main building or main project. Then after listing of sub projects, you are getting into that project in some kind of immersion state. Means halfway you have immersed your mind, your actions, your probable memory, your probable chart out, your responsibility and your duration, how you want to dedicate on that project. So then you jump on the project milestones. List of sub-projects you have, you know when this shall be completed, and based on that, whole project can be clarified, can be charted out to fix an appointed day when project milestone can reach, and you can say we have delivered it, we have done it, that's it, done. Plus, jump on next, that's the impact of liquidated damages. This is another kind of financial comes in. You have fixed milestones, you have fixed delivery milestones and project milestones based on listing of sub-projects. Impact of liquidated damages. First of all, we have to understand, maybe you understand all. Let me repeat it for those who don't understand or who are able to know this liquid, because this LD term, LD, impact of liquidated damages. First of all, let us understand why we call it liquidated damages. That is very important term. Liquidated damages. Why we call it liquidated damages? Once I was on a project, the term was used penalty. If you don't do this work by this date, you shall be imposed a penalty of say XYZ amount per day or per week, and final maximum limit is this for this project, say 10%. But there some problem arose. In those days I'm talking when there was nothing, only old, we used to work without computers and without using log tables only. Somebody raised the question, penalty, what does it mean? You are imposing penalty on me. Have I done some crime? Because in English law, penalty has different meaning. If penal code applies onto you, you can penalize. I am a contractor. I am doing work for you. If I delay this, is it a crime? Isn't a cognizable offense? No, it's not cognizable offense. It's delay of work. There are explanations for that, reasons for that. Or maybe I am unable to deliver on time. Even then, you cannot say I should go to jail. I am just saying go to jail. Nobody sends to jail. Question is penalty of finances, implications. So what happens actually, because nobody cared about what is legal term, what is not legal term. It was what to be done, and that's it. So they just say, okay, we don't use this term. We will use damages because of your delay. Our work is damaged. There's a delay of, and you have to pay something on that behalf because it is because of you, if not because of us. If there is no delay, we shall grant you extension of time on contract duration if you apply for that. If you think, if you prove, you corroborate, support that, yes, you're justified. It was not your fault, it was fault of ours, or it was fault, mutual fault, for example. Then extension can be granted. So this is a problem. Either grant extension or other party has to pay for damages that caused on that project by contractor, by whatever reason, by virtue of delay of material delivery or by virtue of delay or something else. That is called damage. That damage has to be recovered from contractor by owner through engineer, and that is called damage, liquidated damages. And in general, according to FIDIC and in other way, on industrial basis or in field basis or good practice basis, maximum liquidated damages that could be caused or recovered from a civil contractor or a EPC contractor amounts to 10% of project contract costs, not more than that. In some cases, in mechanical equipments, etc., or you can say other way where civil engineering is very less involved, mechanical engineering is involved, or the equipments are involved, or something else is involved, it may amount to 15%, but on an average, it is 10% in general. And once, if you consider 10% also, if 10% amount is affected, impacted upon of a contract, you can say what profit is left for contractor. So no contractor shall like to accept liquidated damages. If contractor foresees that there will be damage, he shall be awakened, he is alerted, and do by hook or crook try to complete that work in time, even by augmentation of resources on site. For example, augmentation of equipment, augmentation of machines, augmentation of workforce, and bringing more and more material in short and short time, and carry out work within defined contract duration to save expenses on liquidated damages. And that is called proficiency of contractor, so that he doesn't face any liquidated damages, because liquid damages is not a good thing. It's not good neither for contractor nor for owner. Ultimately, it's a loss to contractor, it is a loss to reputation of owner, and it is a loss to project time, project reputation, both. Why to spend money unnecessarily? It's no profit actually. I think it's just like alert, nothing else. Well, so I was just reading this for you, because explanation is also very important from practical viewpoint. So we were there about liquidated, the impact of liquidated damages. So you must know what is impact of liquidated damages. This is very severe penalty imposed upon contractor, and no contractor prefers that. Now come on to plus long lead items. I have already explained to you what is long lead items. That is very major work, and I have experienced this on certain projects. What impacts of low lead items age? Plus major items on project. Yes, major items. You have to see what major items are. Means items that count more than 50%. You may call them major items. For example, on a building process, RCC quantity, steel quantity, workforce quantity, or say expensive items which you have to procure on materials. There are many items that can be brought in by you in addition to civil works. That is called major items on project. There can be equipment, there can be furniture, sometimes there can be electric items, or there can be other items. Plus decision about sequences. Yes, decisions about sequences, though there is no definite rule, it is upon work how you do, but yet decision about sequences can be made in such a way. What I am saying is, decisions about sequences on a building, you cannot change sequences. Sequences have to be done on every building. For example, RCC building or structural steel building or some other building, there is no way out that you have an alternative arrangement for sequences. If you have to start, you have to excavate. There is no other way. You cannot build roof first and then excavation. You have to do survey first, then you have to do setting out, and then you have to do excavation and foundation, followed by filling or basement or whatever is there. For if basement is there, you have to follow foundations, retaining walls, and then basement. Otherwise, you have to do excavation, footing, and then go for superstructure work and backfilling and all like this. It continues like this. This sequence I'm not talking because this is mandatory sequence. No one can help it. It has to be done. Sequence is something else. Suppose on a project there are 10 buildings, 15 buildings, and for my project there, and all are independent works. There can be requirements by client that I want this building in priority basis, on a priority basis. These three buildings I want in sequence on a priority basis. I want this work on a priority basis, or contractor decides that I want to do this work on a priority basis, and because it depends upon, there are so many issues. Means once you access to site, you need for whole project duration, you need exit from site, you can ingress to site and egress to site. You want in a circulation way, in a way that your progress is not impacted upon, in a way that your entry and exit on daily basis is not impacted upon. You have to decide upon sequence which building is to go for, which part of that project has to go first, and where should be gate, and where should be boundary wall, where should be fence, and it depends on where should be my yard, you can say For fabrication yard, where should my carpentry shop, where should my steel fixing shop, where should my workshop for structural steel, where should my fabricator works. All that depends on how site is organized, how it is distributed upon. There could be some that this project I will do, this building I should do at the end, this service I will do at the end. This is depends upon how you do, and that is called sequencing. And owner also can impose that I want this building delivered in first priority, this is second priority, this is third priority. It depends upon how to manage that. And that is sequencing of activities. It's not simply one unit, it depends on the whole project we are talking of. Right? So we go on further. Then decision about sequences plus decisions about overlapping activities. Yes, overlapping is same thing. It means if there is independence of buildings, is fine. If there's an overlapping required, you have to decide accordingly. Means there's nothing technical in that. If both moving same way, there may be combination of activities, something like this. Plus work breakdown structures. Yes, work breakdown structure is also very important. What it is, on every building you have to allot cost of activity or cost of part of a building, and you have to in MS project or in Primavera. I'm not expert in Primavera, but I did something on MS projects, and you have to break out all activities and you have to allot codes to them, your own codes, and that's called work breakdown structure, which works for cost control in each and every fashion, in each and every act to follow. And that refers to accounting also, that this money has gone there, this cost has gone there, this quantity has gone there. So they don't go into details of title of activity, but that code which is fixed to that activity is called work breakdown structure, which is movable everywhere. We go further to work packages. Yes, work packages, same thing. Means items package, work package. What work package is there? Means this is general activity, and then go jump to detailed activities. Work package is one thing. For example, there's a package of structure. We say structure content is this. Or there's a work package for every slab, suspended slab. There's a work package of story. There's a work package of AC work, you can say. There's a work package of HVAC. There's a work package of electrical, you can say electronics activities. There's a work package of fixing systems, of you can cradles. There's a work package of, you can say, other activities, false ceiling activities, or equipment, etc. Whatever are there, or systems management is there, or supply specialists are there. And then you go to work packages of all these codes relate to breakdown structure, WBS, that is called in work packages in that. And detailed activities further. For detailed activities means every item has got many other items, sublet, or you can say in plans, that level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. These were used to be in Primavera long back, and I don't know what's happened now, but we can depend upon that levels. Means the master plan is this, sub plan is this, building plan is that, and the activities plan is the electrical first week, then the electrical 2 weeks, the mechanical first week, mechanical 2 weeks, and elevators and all that. That's what detailed activities also. Rebar fixing, certain fixing, pouring concrete, removing certain, all that. Block work, brick work, tile work, floor work, roof work, plumbing work, and then plus go to activities quantifications. Activities quantifications is a very cumbersome voluminous job which you have to quantify, or it must be quantified time of budgeting of that or tendering of that, but that too is not relevant because there could be any mistake. We have to verify these quantities ourselves because we are working, we are doing project, we have to deliver. So we must know what real quantities are in the variation of 5% plus and minus. This quantification is a must be done. Do not rely upon previous quantities. There could be changes in designs since then which you are not aware of because it's 2 years back it was done. You don't know who did and why. So better activities quantification must be newly done or redone. And jump to plus time allocation to activities based on resources or resources driven time allocation. You have to again time allocate resource activities. Every activity has to be completed within a given time for that sub project or that building, and you cannot change that. Keeping milestone of that sub project or that part of project or that building intact, you have to change time. You have to comply with time, and if you think that time is less and activity is more than that, then you have to augment your resources and do whatever you have to do. There is no other way left out to avoid extension of that and to avoid delay on that. So, and then if you jump to plus allocation of dates when you are fixed time, dates can be allocated, and then jump to allocation of direct resources. If dates you have time, you have already worked on resources, so you have to allocate resources for that period. You have to either hire them or take from some other side. If you have that, that is fine. Or and then jump to application of indirect resources. Direct resources and indirect resources both are different. Direct resources and application indirect resources, you have to import indirect resources. No way out. You have to import, so you can say staff as well as resources, subcontractors or sub-vendors or vendors. All that is indirect resource. And then jump to resource leveling. What happens sometimes? Work is so fast that you feel there is a haphazard resource requirement. There's a haphazard resource requirement on site, and that is not a professional act. And you see histograms of that, you see charts of that when you plot on graphics. You'll find curves, one is up and one is done up shortly. So your curve is moving like this, resource allocation is moving like this and then like this and like this, or it's going like this and like this. It cannot be called a professional work contouring. No, it's not that. What has to be? It should be a smooth curve. Means still start something, move like this and this, or like this and this. Means it should be this way. It should be not this way and this way and this way. You cannot, how many times can you mobilize and demobilize? You cannot do that. You have to keep certain stock on site of resources. You can say today I need one machine, tomorrow I need 10 machines, then I need 3 machines, and then I need 4 machines. How it is possible? You bring one and tomorrow you need 10 and then third day I need 3. This is stupidity. You say I need 3 machines for 3 months. That is acceptable. So you need a curve like this, right? Instead of this, you need a curve like this. So you have to adjust your resources on your sheet, changing them, and accordingly change of resource, you have to change of workforce. Budget is same, cost is same, you are adjusting time of that. And that is called resource allocation. It should be uniform to an extent possible. Otherwise, you will suffer. If suppose one day you need 10 machines, next day you need 2. What machines? What 8 machines? 8 machines sell in idle, but you have to pay their higher charges, and you cannot shift them for 2 days. You need travel costs, transportation costs, and that person should have work there. So this is not engineering activity. This is stupidity. Resource leveling is that. Your resource should be level as far as possible. Still, you have to avoid this. If you can manage in 3 machines for 6 months or 3 months, that is best consideration, because if you 3 machines are there on site, 3 operators will be there, 3 machine bankers will be there, banking persons will be there, and accordingly you need materials on civil activities. You have to understand that's called resource leveling, which is also a professional activity. Okay. Then we said that resources are connection time, allocation of dates, allocation of direct resources, application, resource leveling, yes, this is also. Jump onto formation of histograms and S curves. So I already said that based on histograms and S curves, which I just talking about, because you have to resource leveling done, then we have done histograms, and then you have done S curves. S curves is generally named for smooth curve, and that curve which we use to do that. And then we jump onto application of materials or activities based unit rates cost. Application of material or activities based unit rate cost. You know what happens sometimes, you don't have rates available on your contract for some item which are required. If suppose is some item required which is not available on your contract, you have to analyze that item, propose that, and see this is the rate cost, and that's like a minor or major activity on site. Or you may say day work is required. You even cannot say we are unable to work out material and rate cost of that. What to do in that case? Material is not available, workforce cannot be known, labor element cannot be checked out. In that case, day work application works in that. And day work means you just measure every day, record every day, time of machine use, time of quantity of material used, and workforce used. And that's the kind of application of material or activities based unit rate cost. You can find unit rate on the for how much quantity is there. You can find that is something that way. It's a complicated one, but it happens. Plus jump on number of man hours. Once you have quantification available, once you have time of project available, once you have complete information available, what workforce you need, you can know. You can chart out for whole project how many masons, how many carpenters, how many helpers, how many electricians, how many AC duct workers, how many plumbers, how many this and that we need, how many supervisors, how many engineers. All workforce can be counted about. estimated about. Already there was estimated in the tender bid stage, but it is different. And then the jump on the number of equipment hours. Time is available, equipment hours are available because we need equipment for so many months or so many weeks or so many days. Numbers, equipment hours can be calculated. Plus jump on to permissible variation in hours. Permissible variation in hours. I just said 5% to 10% on such projects, plus or minus do. And jump onto probability of fast tracking impacts that may be successfully applied. Yes, fast tracking impacts. Fast tracking is a very modern word. Fast tracking is very modern word in these days. Those who work on fast track pride feel pride and we do some fast track projects. There was a time when buildings were used to construct for 2 or 3 years and then completed. Then technology changed, precasting started, means columns and beams were cast on site. Just like metro, you can see columns were cast on site, foundations were cast on site, but they use precast yard for bringing precast suspended slabs, and then tracks were laid on that. This is fast tracking. Same thing happens in common buildings. This I'm talking about railways. This is standard method. This is some active item is fixed there and they have to carry out repetition of that. Except route is changed. But in buildings, it is much more complicated, particularly in multi-level buildings. It's continuous design consider this. Means everything cannot be precast, everything cannot be cast in situ. Everything cast in situ means more time is required. While vertical members they cast on site, this is called cast in situ. For example, excavation cannot be done outside, it has to be done on site itself. No way out, you have to do excavate on site. Then you have to make all foundation dressing, etc., mouse testing, soil testing, that is also done on site. All foundation design is available and that is also done on site. There is no other way, no option for that. Up to reaching ground level, there is no option. Even sometimes the columns could be procured also for purpose of selling, but that is not, you can say, that is not worth resisting seismic actions and wind actions. Better use up to foundations, all that in casting. Even superstructure columns, big columns, better casting to do because you can control that. You can fix the rebar there yourself and handling problems avoided. You have to bring from workshop using big trailers, big cranes, and first of all you have to work there in yard itself by steam curing and then lift and you unit big areas for that. So that is all headache. Better you do partly vertical members you cast in situ, foundation you cast in situ, and horizontal members for the suspended slabs you can cast in there in hollow core sections. Hollow core, suspended slab is solid, but hollow core means gap in between members. That's a hollow. And you fix it. And then on hollow, there's a small thin slab that's called diaphragm action slab. So if you use building like that, generally in Gulf countries they use this. In our country, maybe they have used like that. Control this vertical members cast in situ, then hollow core sections on that, which are all well designed, and there is steam cube. That is not water cube. By steam cube is 24 to 40 rounds, they can shift from there, and then on prepared cast in situ beams and columns framing on site, you just bring and place it in position by crane, and then work on diaphragm action of thin slab and continue like that. It happens this way, and this way it goes on. Now, that's some bell is there, no problem. If it continues like that, it is called fast tracking. You can save time. You can save many things there. It works. It results in a better way, and you move like that, and then follow up accordingly how it works. Then let us go to further, and that is formation of histograms, curve size, application of material or activities based unit rate cost. I have told number of equipment hours. I have told them we are going to histograms curve. So permissible variation hours, probabilities of fast tracking impacts. I have told calculation of project cost. Now probability of fast tracking impacts that may be successfully applied. Number of equipment hours, permissible variation in hours, probability of fast tracking. I have told you now. Then calculation of sub projects cost. Yes, you have to calculate cost of sub projects. The probability of fast tracking is gone. Calculation of sub-projects costs. Sub-projects means you have to work out costs to be incurred on smaller projects as you worked out. You check that and define that. Then you follow next one to calculation of project cost. Because you have already calculated sub-projects cost, then you can jump on to calculation of project cost. Summation, addition of sub-projects cost can lead to calculation of project cost. And then further to budget estimates. When you have done all these calculations of project costs, sub-project costs, you have budget estimates with you to compare that. You can do that. Then jump on to planned progress histograms or curves. Now, so far it was budget. Now it is planning. You have to do planning of these histograms and curves. And then further, planned inflow of incoming payment certificates. Means you have to check cash flow. You are working, you are spending money, you are doing work, you are being paid. That coming inflow of money, that inflow of money is cash coming in and the expenses are going out. Cash expenditure is going, cash expenditure is coming. That is cash flow. You have to balance cash flow. That is a requirement here. Cash expenditure is jump to cash expenditure based on planned progress. Means according to your plan, you will be paid not according to your budget. What work you do shall be paid, not imaginary work. This means cash expenditure based on planned progress plus profit or losses forecasting. Once you have done this, you will say, I will get this amount after project is completed. And what is our budget? This is our budget. This means we are losing or we are getting profit. This means this system shall inform you, advise you whether you are going to get profit or you are going to get losses. And you can amend there, you can rectify there, you can recover there if there are some areas, you can chart out something. Plus procurement plan or schedule. All this information you have, then you can plan for procurement or schedule out dates of procurement, and you can negotiate and you can find more suppliers, vendors who can give you better service. And then jump to material approval schedule. Once you have decided which materials you have to take, from which vendors you have to take approvals of those materials, and without approvals, materials cannot be used on works in permanent basis, because there are materials for permanent inclusion, there are material for temporary inclusions, and there are material for proprietary inclusions. Material for permanent inclusions are those that are used for permanent work for which payment is made, and temporary materials means support your site work, and proprietary materials means, for example, form work, form slabs, RCC, etc. That is called preparatory works. So material, accordingly you have to order. Material approval schedule you have to fix. Then drawings, you have to create drawings approval schedule. Drawings you have got, that is from consultant or that is from engineer, that is a design drawing, schematic drawing. But based on those drawings, you have to prove working drawings or shop drawing, which all you must be knowing. It is nothing very new. Means all sub vendors and vendors and subcontractors prepare their own drawings for purpose of working on site, which is a very significant part of project. If you do that, means working drawings, technical drawings, standard drawings, all the standard drawings are already available in contract documents. But those drawings which are required for purpose of working on site in details are called shop drawing. The drawings which are used in workshops are called shop drawing. Drawings working for work, that is called working drawings. For example, steel pile building schedule is there, locations of plumbing items are there. All these are called working drawings. And then plus you jump to the staff mobilization. And accordingly, you have plan, you have to comply with staff mobilization from time to time and mobilize and demobilize them accordingly. The staff mobilization and demobilization schedule. And then jump on to type of project organization. Recommendations. After all this, you can say this is our project organization for this period, from this period to that period, and from this period to that period. You may have to revise your project organization many times in the whole project duration. For example, project constitutes 2 years or 3 years, you have to make many charts, many organization charts in that and recommend that. Plus critical execution problems. Critical execution problems. Now we have to see, this is a long list actually, and we have to understand this properly. It's not easy that in one go we can do that. This is long, big, cumbersome job, and it is not one man that can do all this. I'm talking just as I have to talk and you have to listen. It's not adequate. We have to understand. It's a project, to say, for 3 years, 2 years, a big project, mega project. Many people are involved. We have to understand what problems are there. Problems are multifold, solutions are multifold, methods are there, generations are there, equipments are there, everything is there, workers are there, infrastructures are there. There are problems of services, existing services are there, non-existing services are there, design issues are there, everything is there, cost issues are there, time issues are there, but project has to be completed, requires to be completed. So it is very complicated procedure we have to follow, and that complicated procedure have to be easy-fied first. We have to make it easy. We have to moderate this. We cannot blindly go and do this. We have to understand that it takes time, it takes coordination, it takes patience, and then it works. It's not simply just write a page of paper and say do this and do this. No, simply writing a page will not solve it. Writing a page will support it, but going to site, watching it, viewing it, understanding problem, and then solving out, and then taking an alternative approach also, all this shall be required to carry out a project successfully. It is not so easy. Even a single building is there, small building could it be, or small foundation of a machine could be, or something. For example, we take foundation of equipment, say mechanical equipment, the generator is there, or pump is there, or something is there. Something pump is a big pump. This, oh, this 120 HP pump, this is 300 HP pump, this is HP pump. It's easy to say HP pump, but it's vibrating equipment. We have to understand the vibration is a question there. We have to devise a foundation, and foundation drawing is not able. There is only a pump you can design on site, nothing else. Means why do you design? Or there's a massive footing for a compressor, heavy compressor foundation. There's a tabletop. There could be anything. There could be anything for any machine. There could be any foundation for any vessel. Something vibrating foundation, or where some grouting is required. There's a base plate for that. There's a column extension. Yes, these foundations are so complicated. We cannot simply take it for a building foundation. We have to provide a foundation for such pump also. For such generator also, we have to think it. It's vibratory machine. It's vibration. Means there is a, you can say, isolation of vibration technique is required. A foundation in such a way is required that resonance is avoided. Operation frequency is this much. Natural frequency of machine is this. The natural frequency of foundation is this much. Operating frequency of machine is this much. We have to check out weight of this and how much resistance this foundation gives, and is it a resonance or no resonance. We have to see operating frequency is higher, or because a natural frequency higher. There's a combination, there's a ratio of that. We have to avoid resonance, because if resonance comes in picture, it breaks foundation. This impact machine very badly. Means this is basic principle. Means it involves on site. We cannot simply say this is a building project. Even a small pump can cause problem, small turbine can cause problem. There have been cases of failure of foundations, and the foundation may be required 40 centimeter thick, it may be required 1 meter thick as well. For example, generator foundation may be 2 meter thick. It's a massive block. Here strength is not more important, weight of foundation is important, pockets are important, means where bolts have to go in, plates are important, isolation between foundation raft below that is important. We have to provide isolation technique between mass of that foundation and raft of that foundation. Between two, we have to say, or maybe still lamina is provided, a framework of steel, and then we have to provide, you can say below that, or maybe the polystyrene arrangement we have to do, another that has rubber sheet on that, or something that. After that means we have to provide horizontal isolation as well as vertical isolation of that, for so that isolation of vibration is controlled, and machine doesn't get a machine from machine, it doesn't get any vibratory impact on foundation. There are so many considerations that we have to think and feel and think and design, and we should get information from equipment supplier to decide about foundation. If we do not get supplier information, we cannot design that, and this takes time on site when these designs are not available from designers, because generally I have seen such information have been left to site, and that's it, depending on site, depending on what type of equipment we are going to get from suppliers, or what type of vessels or equipment you get, you have to decide about it. And once you get even equipment designs, then there are so many combinations, there are so many pumps are available, so many machines have to be applied. Then we have to see whether there are piping work and their machine equipment foundation. There are so many other things. There are vertical piping, horizontal piping, a flow of piping. We have to see there's no clashes with ceiling, there's no place in AC duct, there's no place in extract fans and other fans and other equipment. This is a complete coordination work for which you need a professional engineer to check out, because I have seen people say we can do it, but they waste time in that. They do not even measure room size, or they don't have room size, depending upon those foundation requirement, the center of foundation from one foundation to other foundation, or this is an open area. For example, chillers are there, piping is there, foundations are there. We have to see that foundations are properly adjusted, the circulation space is available for maintenance purposes. This is all required. Means it's not simply they say we have given this dimension in drawing, in schematic drawing, just for purpose of indication, just for purpose of your information. You design yourself. This is simply saying go. Consultant will go. We didn't know at the time of designing what machine you have, what operating frequency it had, and what BHP it had. So how could we decide? It's up to you. You are. This is what shop drawing is. This is what our working drawing is. You have to check on site. You have to find all information from manufacturer of this equipment and vessel, and see how to make it up. And that costs time, that costs money, and that costs time. Money may not be that important there, because foundations have to be provided, house will be 10 centimeters or less, and what type of light is still using that. This happens everywhere. Some things are standardized, but everything is not standardized. Suppose there is heavy pump, you cannot simply place it on a small foundation. You have to check whether foundation adequate, strong enough, resistive enough to take bearing of this pump. That is very important. There may be water tank, there may be pump, there may be you can say heavy pump, there will be heavy machine, there may be compressor foundation, there may be something else, there may be local generator foundations, there may be extensions for structural steel. Those are not very complicated, but vibrating equipments are very complicated. There may be machines which require epoxy grounding between plate of that machine and foundation. It depends upon. So you have to decide in field. It's not 1 minute job. It's coordination job. There may be 10 locations, 10 coordinations, 10 drawings. Drawing that's useless. You have to make new drawings. You have to coordinate with supplier. You have to coordinate with the discipline contractors. You have to coordinate electrical contractors. You have to coordinate the civil contractors. All have to sit at one place, discuss how to do this, how to come to one point. Then after deciding all this, you have to get a formal approval from whoever is responsible approval. It may be consultant, it may be government. Then you have to get approval, and then after getting approval, it is called formal drawing. And based on that, you have to work on site, and it takes time. What happens actually? Work is forgotten. They don't care about small quantities. They just rush for major quantities, rush for big quantities. This usually happens on all projects. Usually happens. They want to give quantity, deliver quantity. Oh, I have done this much, 100 cubic meters, 500 cubic meters of concrete. We have done so many slabs, but they leave behind such small activities for future when these major works are over, and then they're clashing us because you have done something already. Now you are doing something else which you did not think of before. So room has been built, yard has been built, but your equipment are not getting fixed. That causes a problem. There is a wall, you did not provide conduit to an wall, and now it is causing a problem. This is to be solved, this requires to be solved, and this is very difficult. This is called technical and coordination work. You first understand what technicality applies, what engineering applies, and then you have to coordinate. And once you have coordinate sitting together from all disciplines, you can reach a stage where everybody agrees, manufacturer agrees, engineer agrees, and subcontractor agrees, and client agrees, and everybody agrees, and that is called working drawing. And you submit that drawing for approval, and that drawing comes in as approved for construction, issued for construction, and you have to follow that on site. And once you follow that, you can say it is done, but that is too late because all other activities have been over. But that work has to be done. This generally applies on site with chiller foundation, other foundations, many other services foundations, utility services area where there is very difficulty for the pipe to pass. You have by mistake made oversized foundation, or you have made incorrect foundation, and this pipe doesn't pass on to that foundation, and you cause a problem. Either you have either you have to cut out foundation, which you cannot do, or you have to remove some structure you cannot do. Problem is then you have to make another structure for that piping, and that costs the time. Maybe there's a loss of head of any liquid flowing through that, fluid flowing through that. That is another consideration. But it is not simply speaking. It is to be done. Coordination and technicalities are very important. What we used to do in our projects, we used to conduct technical and coordination meetings every week in advance to monthly progress meeting or weekly progress meeting or some other meeting, because technical and coordination issues consume a lot of time. There can be 5 issues, but it may take 5 hours to understand them, and then 3 or 4 meetings to resolve them. So how many hours are consumed for how many engineers? Because in coordination, civil engineer is available, electrical engineer is available, mechanical engineer is available. These must be there. Otherwise, you cannot conduct coordination meeting. They may be your engineers or they may be vendors engineers, whosoever is. Because without civil, electrical, mechanical, you cannot coordinate these services works. If one is not available, you cannot continue because both all have to agree. Civil engineer has to agree for civil work. Electromechanical engineer has to. They have to agree for their services work. Only then we can move further. And for each point we have to decide. For each stage we have to decide. Each location we have to decide. We have to move further like that from one point to another point. Then we can reach certain solution. And therefore, technical and coordination meetings, it takes a lot of time, many days for something, and then we reach somewhere. Only in progress contract meeting, there's a contract progress. Maybe we can tell that these are pending problems and these are coordinations we have reached. We just inform them like this. Here, cost is not that much. Cost is not that much on civil work, and cost is not that much even on both technical and engineering coordination. But time, factor of time. If this coordination is not done, solutions are not this, result is a civil activity stops, or even if civil activities is done, we have to break that portion, we have to break some beam, we have to break some slab portion, we have to break something which is not acceptable, which is even allowed. It's very difficult to do that. So to avoid those complications, we have to understand that in advance we have to be ready for this. And that is what project management is all about. It's not so simple. You cannot simply say shutter, steel, and provide concrete and do it. Many aspects are to be concentrated. This chart which I am giving you, this plus up jump I am giving you, this is information. But behind what is there, what program it involves, what time it takes is completely different. It's not that project management teacher will tell us. No, it is we have to understand. Drilling a hole in a slab takes time. Drilling a hole in a beam takes time. Better to avoid that. What's alternative? Why to spoil my structure? Why to drill something in that which is not required? Why not to find some other route? Or why not to put an open, there's a block-out during casting itself? So if when we know in advance that there is a hole passing through, there, a pipe passing through, we have to strengthen that portion. Shear, there will be shear impact, there will be bending impact. We have to strengthen that to replenish that, compensate that strength loss. So many considerations are there. Structure cannot be touched blindly. It is like anatomy of human being. You cannot take out bones from your body. You cannot, surgeon cannot operate anywhere by cutting anything by in surgery. It cannot be just like that. You have to be precautious. Where X-ray, your X-ray is, where your surgery is. I have seen people just making drills anywhere and we build up building and the result is it collapses. They make some hole in beam or somewhere. It happens in China, so it's Shanghai building collapse. Nobody is telling why it collapsed. It happens in our country, buildings collapse because everybody wants that I am engineer, I can do this, and they do something and building collapses. This should not happen. This is a very complicated issue. This is very, one hole can endanger whole structure. You are drilling something in foundation, in lowest portion of column, because you want to pass your pipe. You are not having any conception what shall it result, and result is that it sinks there or collapses there. This is not acceptable. It's completely different world, because doing concrete is easy, shutter, concrete, steel, etc. But a remedy of concrete or something very difficult. Or if you drill a hole after concrete, it's taken strength, it's hardened, it's taken 20 years distance, it means 6 month old, it's been 1 year old, and you are drilling now. It will first of all create cracks, micro cracks in concrete structure. Then it will reduce the strength, and you are inserting a pipe. Then what? How will you additionally strengthen that portion? You have no other way. You will just resin injection, which is just fill cracks, and that's it. This is what I'm saying. Don't be blind. Construction work is more difficult than design work. Design can be amended before construction, but construction cannot be amended after construction. Construction can be amended before construction if properly advised or drawing revised. But once done, you may not revise your drawing. Even if you revise, it has got no meaning. We have to be professional. Job of construction is not that easy. Concrete technology is not that easy. Steel is also not easy. What happens, blindly people are using this technology as if this is a layman job. They just want to. I again tell you that I have seen people bringing steel bars which are 12 to 14 meter long. They bend it and then bring it in trucks, and then again bend and strengthen them and then use it. People are like that. They don't understand. They are wasting their money. They are causing cracks to microstructure of steel. And this steel, which was designed for proper yield strength, has to go into concrete, and they are reducing capacity of steel as well as capacity of concrete. So understanding is very important. Question is not how much qualified you are. Question is how much reliable you are. Again, I am saying, for me, qualification is not that important as reliability. Similarly, building is reliable means building is safe, structure is safe, structure is serviceable. Means structure should be as much serviceable as it has been intended for. It should be strong enough as intended for, and it should give service for a period it has been decided to serve. So safety is there, which is a considerable point. Service is there, which is a considerable point. Suppose foundation of your pump, which you provide a 150 HP pump, is not strong enough. Pump vibrates and there's a resonance reached when operating frequency and natural frequency of your machine, operating frequency of your machine and natural frequency of foundation tally. That come to a point, immediately it will crack. Either machine will break or foundation will break. What to do in that case? Hold both break, and there's a break in system flow, and there's accident in that. What to do? Who is responsible? How will you resolve that? It will cost many, multiple times cost what you spend during that time. That is very important. So safety, serviceability, and durability. These three factors equal reliability. If you do work in a reliable manner, we simply say, oh, this person is reliable. But we don't know what reliability means. Work should be safe, first of all, whatever work you do. It should be safe from every safety aspect. Material safety, workman safety, working safety, site safety. This is first thing. Second thing, serviceability. Whatever you produce, whatever you deliver, must be serviceable to a purpose it was intended for. If it is not serviceable, it has got no meaning at all. And say you decided something, you planned something that this item should serve for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years, depending upon what the project is. Generally, plants projects are guaranteed for 30 years. If this plant project or the services project, the utility project for 30 years, it must work in same service, same efficiency, same strength for 30 years if it is durable. It may be more, it may work for 50 years, but you cannot guarantee for durability until you refresh that, you retrofit that. If you retrofit that for another strength, it can work. There's no other, no consider. But initially, it was meant for this period, means it was intended for this period, which should work. Otherwise, you are not professional. Your work is not professional. These three factors are well defined in Euro codes. The reliability means is this: work safety, people safety, working safety, etc. Whatever safety is required. Plus, safety means fire safety is also there. If it's a big plant and big things there, if there's a gas flow in that or something other flow in that, some means whatever is there. Plus, service ability to serve. It may be building, it may be pipeline, it may be some other element, it may be high temperature, it may be low temperature, it may be locomotive boiler. It should serve a purpose for which it was intended so to serve. Plus durability. Durability. In concrete, we say concrete is durable, which means this concrete shall work, shall serve intended purpose for defined duration. This building shall serve for so many years. This this structure shall serve for so many years. That is called durability. In other words, how far this can go with design strength, with work which we have done on this, how far it can go successfully for us or for user. That is called durability. Means without losing any strength, without leading us to any risk consideration, to risk element where we have to recover our risk loss. That is called reliability. Means it is again and again reliable, liable, and reliable. Safety plus serviceability plus durability equal reliability. Every project should be that, every work should be that. We have to ensure whatever we are doing on whatever projects must be that. It's not simply project management, it is work management, it is activity management, it is technical management, it is detail management, it is reliability management, and it is money management, it is project management, it is service management. You are risking lives of many people who shall use this. If your design is bad, you are risking life of that person who is using that machine, who is working on that machine. That person thinks that whatever you did is right and acceptable. With that assumption, that person operates on that machine. If your work is wrong, your work is defective, that person's life is at risk, and that is because of you. Is there is no safety on that. When there is no safety means there is no serviceability. He is serving that, but you did not make it safe. So you have indirectly attempted to murder that person by condoning your ideas, by even not understanding that they could do that. That is engineering. That is management. Management is not simply in books, the way you read that. It is whole life. When you are making a bad structure for someone and there may be 50% occupying that structure, if that structure fails, you are risking life of those 50 persons. If a bridge has to fail, you are risking lives of hundreds of people. If a walkway bridge is failed on railways, you are risking life of hundreds of people. When bridge collapses, you are who's responsible for the life? Forget what politics says and someone else says. Question a designer and risk that. Or nobody listen to designers, nobody listens to something, people do not borrow because people are not serious. That is the problem. So management does not confine to something one. Management confined to performance. You perform, it is management. If you don't perform, it is not management. Simply, it is not one thing. There may be 100 things, there may be 100,000 things, there may be one contemplation, one thought, there will be two thoughts, there will be three thoughts, and there will be 25 thoughts, 100 thoughts. Thinking, approaching the best route, approaching the optimum route is engineering philosophy. Engineering does not say do something wrong. Engineer means do something engineer, create something which is reliable, create something which is acceptable, create something which supports humanity. It's not simply doing work and running away. People make buildings, people make bridges, people make do some things. They don't bother. They don't care what concrete is. They don't care what it is, what sagging is, what hogging is. They don't worry about what it is. When there is some problem in buildings, they put some other column behind it. I have seen in buildings there are balconies, projected balconies up to 2 meters or 1.8 meters. They did not care at the time of they didn't put any beams on any structure at the time of construction of that. Later on they see, oh, it's staying down, it's coming down. They try to build another decorative column on that. I have seen this personally here. Many buildings built as if no design, there was no design at all. People just build. They put anything anywhere. They don't care. Put one here, one here, one here. No problem of central gravity of building. No problem how loads are coming in. No problem of how so loads are working. How central gravity loads are conditions. Nobody cares for that. Nobody points out that engineers are not available or they are not employed. So the architects don't bother about this. And building is very good in wood outlook, is very good finished, plastered, colored and everything. From distance, oh, very beautiful building that is, but structurally that is lame, out of CG, out of loading, out of balancing, out of everything, no static equilibrium, no dynamic equilibrium, no reliable equilibrium, no safety, no serviceability, and no durability. But building is there, people are living there, it's no problem. If life moves on like that. But for us, for professionals, life doesn't move like that. Professional means he loses sleep. He cannot sleep 8 hours. Even sometimes he cannot sleep 6 hours. They keep on thinking people enjoy life. They don't enjoy life because they are professionals. Professional means seriousness. I don't say face seriousness, mind seriousness. Face seriousness doesn't matter anything. Mind seriousness. We are not actors. Our mind should be serious. Our mind should concentrate. Our mind should check target, focus on target. It is professional means mind thinker. It's not heart thinker. We think by mind. We think and then do things. We don't do things first and then think. It's not professional. We are taught. We are advanced training. We have advanced training. That is why we are professionals. We are not having normal training. 5 years engineering training, 6, 7 years training, or whatever training we have, formal training or informal training, or 25 years experience, or 15 years of experience. This experience itself is a training. We have to learn from field, we have to learn from project, we have to learn from people involved in this project, we have to learn from those who failed, we have to learn from those who passed. From all we have to learn. Failure also teaches us. Failure is the root of success, called successfully. Failure means your teacher. We have to learn lessons from failures. We don't learn lessons. We take it to natural chances. We take it to, oh, no problem. We'll see what happens. If somebody comes to me and tells, I don't want very good building, I don't want zero debt building, just I want a building to live and sell. I don't like that. Whatever I am doing is not for sale. Whatever I'm working for is not for your sale. I'm not selling my profession to you to sell it further. I am working for some structure to stay and work. It doesn't matter you stay there or don't stay there, nobody stays there. The structure stays there. The structure is serving even if nobody stays there. Dead load is there, it's serving, it's acting on structure even if nobody stays there. I don't care. The structure is working even if there's no one in that. Foundation is working, columns are working, beams are working, wind is there, load is there. Even if there's no live load, no problem, but it's working. If there is thermal effect from sun 40, 50 degrees and there's fire effect on that, it's working. You cannot simply say that I am not staying there. If you are not staying there, this doesn't matter. If a bridge is not having any pedestrian on it, doesn't matter, but bridge is working. If railway tracks is without train, doesn't mean it's working. So we have to see that we should not come in talks of people. Oh, I just want a building, I will sell tomorrow. I am this industry investment, just make. That's not that. I don't care for what you say. You want a design, I give you a design, but you have to comply with that. I believe me, I don't want to work here in this area, say in Delhi and in this country, because nobody cares for specifications, nobody cares for designs, nobody cares for reliability of building, and nobody cares for anything. People just want to build something for nothing. They are spending money, they don't understand. They are spending more money than required, yet they are thinking we are just making well. Where 12 bars serves, if I use 25 reinforcing bars, is sensible nonsense. Where 8 bars or 10 bars, if I use 12 bars, it is sensible nonsense. Where we should design columns in a good way so that it resists fire, it resists loads, it resists something else for which it required, it resists winds and earthquake actions. If I design that column, which is better, or just by any way we just thumb rules use this column and this is steel and that's better, which one is better? A calculation can be done and it is there, people do it, but these people don't understand. They think on site if it's done, that is engineering. That's what they think. They don't think behind site there is something else. Who are doing site is just a building can be done in 1 month or 2 months or 3 months or 4, 5, 1 year, but behind that there is a big work which people don't understand. They don't want to understand. I don't understand reason behind that. Why people are like that? Ultimately money is going. What happens, they mix concrete by manual and leave that for 2 years, 2 hours, 3 hours. It sets and again they remix it and do it. Same thing happens to this mortar. They during 10 hours, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, they mix and put water in that and leave that and go to lunch at 1 o'clock and come back at 2 o'clock. And that time it is lying just exposed and sits partly sets. And then they put water on that and remix this. Ultimately, you have paid money for this material, you have paid money for cement, you have paid money for water. You are not caring for that. You are not supervising. Nobody is supervising. And this illiterate labor, they don't understand because they have no training. They what they see, they do. This is not their fault. This is fault of the person who is making that building, who is in charge of the building, who is owner of the building, because he is not caring about his money. So who shall take care of this country? I don't understand. I don't really understand. We are spending more money than required, and then we are not getting quality product. This is our bad luck, bad fortune. Is it or not? Well, what I say that I have not completed this, what I'm talking about in that. I will take next to it because it's not now. See, I reach only page 18 of 31, so one more talk shall be required on that. So I will now, because already oh my God, 3 hours crossed, so it's too big. So I will now like to close it with kind gratitude to you people. Whoever may watch this or may not watch this, well, I'm not very much encouraged by people not watching, no problem at all. Whoever may watch, may not watch, it's up to them. If they want to learn something or if they don't learn, of course, time is a question mark, I know. Time is a question mark, but time is to be spent to learning. If you don't spend time, you cannot learn. I spend a lot of time to learn, to read books and do that, but you are not reading on books, you are listening. People go to listen, to watch movies, to spend time in chatting on mobile. That time is also important. Why they are wasting that? Anyhow, I'm now skill development continues, and I will take this further, and many more Yes, one more thing. In this text, I have put some photographs of one plot building, RCC, and others. In the end of this text, which are from script, I think 8 or 7 are there, 9 sketches are there, maybe 2 or 3 still in process, not in, but 5 sketches already available in script, and that is addition to yesterday what I did today. So maybe just to show what type of drawings are required. Means architectural drawings are required. Many architectural drawings for 2 or 3 story building. Structural drawings are required, and then services drawings are required, and layouts are required. Many things are elevations are required, which must be done before starting a project, and that is given there. Which people, you if you are interested, you can go through that. I'll repeat that tomorrow as well, or in next session, whenever it is, because it will take maybe one video more, 2 video more, or more. I don't know how many. Depends upon. Means I'm not sure about that. I'm just talking. Like I have to prepare more in daytime. Means 3 hours video means I have to spend 6 7 hours just to find out information from here and there. Otherwise, it's not possible to work on 3 hours. Means like a movie, you can say is already now 3 hours or more. So how much work I have to do means this is also important, but people don't value. That's the problem. No problem, you don't value. It's up to you. But I would say that I'll now take the next one, and I'll bye bye you now. And this again my invitation for information purpose. And thank you very much, gentlemen. Goodbye, and hope you're fine. Read this, and thanks once again for your kind cooperation. And that's it.